Thank you very much. Good morning everyone. My name is Samuel Amos. I work for the GEO Secretariat, and I have the pleasure today to moderate this session 6 of this plenary. This session is entitled Keeping Our Promises to Young People. This is all the more significant when you consider that this year we are celebrating 20 years of GEO. So 20 years of existence, it means it's young. And GEO is young. And that's fantastic, because today we have the pleasure to have a session dedicated to youth and to young people. And I have with me a panel of young people on stage. I will present them to you a bit later. So welcome to GEO Youth Session. It is therefore with great honor that I ask you to welcome our guest speaker, Dr. Musonda Mumba, Secretary General of the Convention on Wetlands, for her introductory speech. Dr. Mumba, the floor is yours.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you, Sam, and thank you to young people. As a coincidence, today happens to be my birthday. I'm much closer to... Oh, thank you. I'm closer to 60 than I am to 35, but I'm young at heart. So in this really wonderful and fantastic session and plenary event of keeping our promise to young people, I just want to share some highlights. And it's really great to see the diversity in the room, the expertise in the room, and just the momentum. And really, congratulations, Yana and the team. This is incredible. And Sam, indeed, GEO is young. But youth is but a fleeting moment. It will go very quickly. But you have this window to make a lot of changes. I was very fortunate. I was born in the north of Zambia, in a place called Mansa, and my father, bless his soul, he died last year, he used to take us to this beautiful wetland called the Kafiwe Flats. I was 13, standing there with my twin sister. I was in awe looking at this wetland system and floodplain. Fast forward, because of this inspiration, because of my childhood, I went back there to do my PhD on the Kafiwe Flats. And guess what? For me to model that, the hydrology of this wetland system, I had a scholarship at University College London. I used Landsat imagery. I don't know how many of our young people have been using Landsat. It was not cheap. I was very fortunate. I had a scholarship from the University of London and the Commonwealth to give me to be able to have that Earth intelligence to analyze a beautiful and amazing landscape. I want to share four things to all young people and those young at heart in this room, because these 4 C's have been incredibly helpful for me as I navigate my world, as I think through my science, but also having been an intern at the Convention on Wetlands, I was in my 20s, and come back to head the Convention on Wetlands. I want to start with the first C, change. We all know that the one thing that's constant in life is change. And you will be going back to your countries. You've been away for these last few days, and I can tell you and promise you that by the time you land, wherever you'll be going to, or the train that you take, there would have been some change. And with this change comes a moment where you begin to think, what skills do I need to bring to this place? And with this change, the older generation also have to think, how do we keep the promise and the momentum of inclusivity, not just having young people as spectators of their own existence, but active participants in their well-being. And similarly, as we navigate the very theme of this conference, Earth Intelligence, what role will you play and how relevant can you stay? This brings me to the second C, complexity. We have seen just in the last 5 months, man, the world is complicated. And in this complexity, we have spotlighted with more eyes from above those satellites. We've looked down had a look at how complex the earth is, this beautiful place that we call home. We are all dealing with polycrises that are hitting us from every corner. How do you stay relevant? How do you navigate complexity? What skills do you bring to this space? And you can also ask yourself, within dealing with these polycrises, how do you stay informed to be able to provide solutions in this complex space? And I know that older people sometimes struggle to deal with complexity. Young people are extremely agile, and sometimes they bring seemingly unpopular ideas. Please listen to them. Thirdly, I bring the third C, courage. You need courage to be able to show up. I'm inspired by a quote by Mandela, because I'm half South African, and he said, "Courage is not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it." How do you draw courage to be able to enter these complex spaces, unanticipated spaces? When you look at all of that earth intelligence, you're trying to make certain decisions because, colleagues, in 2030, you will be in these decision-making spaces. You already are in the decision-making room, but there will be another generation expecting you to be able to make those changes. So how do you stay courageous? And you may ask yourself, my God, how did this happen? Time goes fast. It always does. Lastly, but not the least, I want to say something that my grandmother always used to remind me: curiosity. Remain curious. Because if you're not curious, you begin to realize that you become hopeless. We're dealing with very complicated times, difficult. We're dealing with crisis. I'll give you a very quick example. In 2021, I was hired by UNDP to come over here in Italy as the head of the UNDP office and to support His Excellency Prime Minister Draghi with the G20 presidency. I knew nothing about G20 processes. I was a COVID hire. I had few staff, and I walked into this space and I was like, I will learn. I will figure out how to do this. And learning did I, because I stayed curious. I know nothing about debt swaps, but I stayed curious, and I learned from different people, young and old, to be able to do that. I want to just say, as I close this full circle of these 4 C's, I want to encourage the older generation that when we say we're keeping a promise, as we say, pinky, pinky, please, because my children always ask me that, we stick to the promise. And when we say we're offering a seat at the table, it is not just a seat at the table. It is an element of inclusivity. It is the aspect of humility to listen even to some seemingly unpopular ideas, because young people, though they bring some inexperience, they're incredibly innovative. They are amazing. They are curious. They are dynamic. This is the one phase of your life where you have the most energy. Use it. And let us stick to that promise. And I'm so looking forward to the discussion and wishing you well, and really excited, and congratulations yet again, GEO 20. Stay young and stay young at heart, and all the very best. Merci. Gracias.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mumba, for your inspiring speech, indeed. And I like the conclusion on GEO 20 because it's the name of the plenary, also GEO 20, and it's a very good name, I guess. 20 years old, GEO Young, GEO Youth, GEO 20. We should keep GEO 20 for the rest of the GEO plenary, I think. Everyone stay young in that case. Thank you very much. I'm pleased now to introduce our young panelists on stage. We have the pleasure today to have now 25 minutes, about 30 minutes of discussion on not only young inclusion or youth, but also on the key goal number 4 of the SIP that you all have been discussed and exchanging during these past 4 days, and even more since 2 years now since the declaration of Cape Town. Our youth panel that you can see on stage is comprised of Felipe Carlos, Nasipi Nkolso, and Lena Moral, Gong Ipei, and Giorgio Balogan. Thank you to applaud them. They are our young representative for today. That's a great pleasure to have you here on stage. And I would like to start this panel discussion with a very quick question in just 3 words. Could you please tell us what was your first reaction when you read the SIP, this fundamental paper? Maybe we can start by Lena, in 3 words.
If we achieve target 4 of the SIP, that means achieving all the other targets. So if you invest in target 4, that will mean investing in all of the targets. And that is the promise that we want to make to you.
Thank you. So investing in target 4 to achieve all the other targets. This is your key message. Gong, what was your first reaction?
Well, in fact, just like my Lena said, I think SIP is really ambitious. It's actionable and it's exciting. I really mean it because it's a blueprint where we could see bright future, and it makes everybody put their efforts to go for it. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you very much, Gong. And maybe Nasipi, what was your first question?
The first reaction when I read the SIP, I was excited. I saw innovation and I saw ambition. Thank you.
Innovation, ambition. I like this word, actually. This is the key word that we should keep today in mind. Felipe.
Thank you, Sam. And for me, when I read the first time the SIP, one of the most important things arise there was the importance of the community, as the SIP represents evolution and also innovation. Thank you.
Thank you. And Giorgio, the SIP, it doesn't ring a bell for you because you're quite new for GEO, basically. You joined GEO, or basically you discovered GEO 1 week ago because you're part of the GEO Youth Ideathon, and we will come back on this program a bit later. So Giorgio is really someone new. So he didn't read the SIP, actually, but he met GEO. And maybe he did already during the night. So Giorgio, now after GEO, you met since 1 week GEO. What is in 3 words your reaction, basically?
Maybe my reaction in 3 keywords would be like challenging, fresh, and purpose-driven. Because challenging, because it pushes us to think like bigger. Fresh, because it's open up to new ways to act. And purpose-driven because it's all about solving real problems that really matter.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, and welcome again to this GEO community, Giorgio. We are happy to have you among us. So let's move to one of the first questions to go a bit in deep in this discussion. We often hear that youth are the leaders of tomorrow. This is a very common sentence. But many are already leading, and they are already innovating today. So you, from your experience, how have young people helped improve decisions or influence policies in your country or in your respective organization when it comes to this topic, crucial topic of Earth observations? And maybe, Nasipi, you would like to start?
Indeed, Sam, as young people, we are not just part of the show or just watching innovation as the extra people in the cast, but we are leading innovation because we are young, we know nothing, and we are ready to learn everything. If you take, for example, university students, young professionals in the field of research, all we think about when we see research, when we see a research topic is how can I automate this? How can I apply artificial intelligence and machine learning to make this task even simpler? We are looking at ways in which we can make each and every tool automated. If we're looking at challenges like climate change, we're looking at natural disasters, you don't want a method that can only give you response after 3 months, but you want something that will give you response as when you need it. All we are interested in is research and innovation that will provide decision makers with tools that will give them answers as to when they need them, so that they make evidence-based decision to address some of the key challenges that we are faced with as a country.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And would you have some example maybe to show?
For example, throughout my postgraduate studies, I've been involved in research, and all I've been interested in is how I can integrate artificial intelligence and Earth observation data to develop tools that will monitor rangelands in South Africa, because in South Africa we are known for best beef. And if our rangelands are not healthy, it means we're gonna have few livestock and less beef to produce as a country. So I've been trying to develop a tool that will help us monitor rangelands health. And now working with the South African National Space Agency as a scientist, I am working on operationalizing that tool and ensuring that we have a portable and a hand-on tool that you can use on your phone to see or understand what is happening at your farm right now or at your local rangelands right now, and how is that going to affect local produce in terms of livestock in the area? How is it going to affect the food prices in that local area, so that policymakers can know exactly what challenges they are faced with timely, so that they can act, ensuring that they restore and protect all the vulnerable areas locally in South Africa. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Very interesting example. You have been speaking a lot of tools also. And I know Felipe is really working on tools, on these concrete tools, right?
Yes, exactly, Sam. Thank you so much. And I think what I can share is a personal experience in how youth can be impactful in projects and also in the decision-making process. So when I was doing my master degree, I joined the Brazil Data Cube project. So this is the Brazilian initiative to create services and tools to process and also manage Earth observation data cubes. And this project is led by a senior scientist from the National Institute for Space Research in Brazil. And in my view, they created a very interesting learning environment, because every new student, master student, PhD student joined the project had a senior scientist as a supervisor in the project. So for all tasks we developed, we were always working together with this supervisor. And this was very good, because during the development of the tasks, we were joining two very important things for youth. We were joining the motivation of young students, the energy to develop new things, to propose new solutions, and also the experience of the senior scientists, the knowledge they already have from previous projects. So this was a very good and interesting experience, because then I was able to learn by doing things, but also receiving recommendations, lessons about the things I was developing. But of course, there is one very important point to mention. During this process, the researchers was always talking about the basics, the principles. So foundational things like learn remote sensing, learn how to code, all this stuff that is very, very important. And also, just to highlight, we also have other examples in the GEO community itself, with young people from university joining GEO work program activities. And this is the case from the University of Geneva, for example. We have, and thanks to the program of master and PhD students, now we have colleagues joining, for example, GEO Mountains, GEO Secretariat itself, and so on. So this is what I have to share. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Felipe. And you were speaking indeed in the environment. This close relationship, and I see Nasipi also agreeing with you, the close relationship between the senior and the younger people. Yeah, that's a very good message, and I will come back a bit later also on this specific topic. But before, I would like also to ask the panel here, if you think about support or funding or training, basically, this kind of very concrete actions, does that help you to grow with your work in Earth observations? And now we should even speak about Earth intelligence if we want to be right. So what are the biggest gaps for you, basically, or the biggest challenges that they are still you are still facing as a young people? And you have all different experience, but I think we would be very interested to hear about that from you. I don't know if there is someone who would like to start. Felipe, maybe you can follow up, because I think it's a good follow-up for what you said before.
Yes, thank you so much, Sam. And I think I agree with you for this question. my view is really related to what I just said. This is because, of course, as young people starting our careers, we have a lot of problems and we need support in various phases. But I think I would like to highlight just two parts of this support we need. The first, I think, is related to the legal support, because sometimes we receive a very good opportunity to join, for example, an international event like the GEO Global Forum, but then we are not able to join because we have issues with the visa process. So having like something to support young with this kind of process will help a lot. And recently we have an issue with a colleague, Kalamkas Yasin Hanova from the GEO Knowledge Hub team. She was invited to join the Ideathon running here in the GEO Global Forum, but she was not able to join because she had visa issues. So this is something that can support at least with how to proceed in this kind of cases and things like that. And of course, a second point to highlight is the capacity building. So when we see nowadays many GIS courses is still teaching students, the young generation, to use only graphical user interface tools or web-based tools. Of course, these are very important tools, but if you want to empower the young generation to move to a next level and be able to develop their own tools, their own solutions, we need more. We need to teach them how to code, to create their own stuff and not be dependent in a specific tool. And this is one of the things we're also doing as part of the GEO Knowledge Hub, always advocating for open tools that can be reused and based in code and also other technologies.
Thank you. Yeah, that's two important criteria. You mentioned legal aspect, capacity building. We have spoken a lot of capacity building. Legal aspect, it sounds a bit new. That's very interesting. You bring it here. And Nasipi, you were talking also on something in the preparation of this meeting. You were talking about financial support, right? So you would like to elaborate a bit?
Yes, when it comes to financial support as youth from South Africa, I would say that our government indeed prioritizes young people. In addition to the free access to quality education in the country, our government also supports tertiary education through our National Student Funding Scheme, where it offers young people from underprivileged communities an opportunity to go to university even though they cannot really afford to pay, offering what we call a student loan. That when you then get to employment, you start paying a very fair proportion of what you were borrowed until you finish paying. And what gives an advantage also is that for some of the scarce skills careers in the country, that loan is then converted to a bursary, and fortunately, geospatial sciences fall within that category of scarce skills in the country. And we also have a very good support in terms of research and innovation. We have National Research Funding Scheme, we have the South African National Space Agency and other government entities like the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research in the country supporting innovation and research, is prioritizing young people under the age of 35. But in addition to that, the most recent one was the funding of the 2023 Youth Declaration by our Department of Science and Innovation, where they funded about 10 young people from different parts of the country to come for a week-long workshop in Cape Town and come up and draft the Youth Declaration that we are sitting here now discussing. And that has really benefited not only South Africa, but the GEO Secretariat at large, because that was not a South African declaration, but a GEO declaration. So we are really grateful for those opportunities in the country. And some of the few challenges that I would mention that we are faced with as the young people on my side is the lack of mentorship and incubator programs, where we mentor young, promising professionals with their innovative ideas and help them change those ideas into practical solutions, addressing some of the challenges that we are faced with in the country as well as globally. And also the gap between academia and the industry, because now the rate at which the industry is changing or evolving and the rate at which the tertiary curriculums are being updated is not the same. Now we find ourselves with this bunch of graduates leaving the education system without the skills that are required at that particular period and time. And that now creates more of what we do not even call youth unemployment, but a graduate unemployment, which becomes very uncomfortable because graduates lack the required skill. So if we can have those small programs that say, if you're coming out of the academia, how do you transition to ensure that, even if it's in a form of trainings, to ensure that you have the capacity or the skills that are required at that point in time. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Nasipi. And indeed, you mentioned a lot of crucial elements, but you mentioned also, you refer to the Youth Declaration of Cape Town, and that's very true, actually. And I encourage everyone here, if you just go on the GEO website, you will find the Youth Declaration of Cape Town that triggered this youth movement also in GEO, and that's why also we are here today. Gong, I was seeing you, and it seems you were agreeing with a lot of things that Nasipi was saying also. You have also a good experience in your AOGO region, right?
Sure. Thank you, Sam. Well, I just put it shortly. Well, you know, the Asia-Oceania region is home to over more than 60% of the world's population, and it bears the brunt of disasters like droughts, earthquakes, and etc. These severely impact developing countries or regions. So to empower young talents from underdeveloped regions to bridge the gap between technology and survival, AirCAS, and I'm part of it, has launched several training workshops aiming to enhance their capacity to address challenges. And over 2,000 young professionals have been trained since 2018. This capacity building isn't just important, it's what keeps vulnerable communities alive when disasters hit. But here's the wild thing. You know, after running 10 of these workshops, we realized that, you know, we're talking incredible talents from places dealing with massive crises. But here's the kicker. Promising researchers often miss on-site training because of lack of travel funds, which is really an obstacle for them. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you very much, Gong. And I hear actually your message on on-site training, the importance of having this on-site training. And it echoes a bit what Felipe was saying before, also giving the right and the access to attend this on-site training from the people.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, very interesting conversation, and I hope you are enjoying this conversation also. I hope you have questions, you have statements, because we will have some time after this panel discussion for you, dear delegates, to make some statements if you have, and also to share your support with this goal 4 of the SIP, and even ask some questions to the panelists. So write it down, keep it aside, and we will come back to you after this panel discussion also. I would like to move a bit in another direction. And when we talk about the GEO's new strategy, finally it's all about working together, it's using new technologies, it's making sure that everyone can benefit from Earth intelligence. So how do you think that youth can make this happen? Gong? Yeah, please.
Okay, thank you, Sam. Well, I have got to say that the 5 goals of post-2025 strategy are not standalone, they're interconnected. But today's reality holds us back, you know, unequal global development, technology gaps, language barriers, and diverse priorities all hinder progress towards Earth intelligence. Here is my points. I think first, invest in youth training to bridge the technology gap. By equipping young scientists with Earth intelligence skills, we don't just build expertise, they directly contribute back to their communities through local solutions. And secondly, empower regional youth networks as problem-solving hubs through youth community practice. And we share critical local challenges in real time, and young scientists then adapt technologies to their unique contexts. And this is how we feel Earth intelligence for all, from the ground up. Thank you, Sam.
Yeah, very interesting. I see, Lina, you would like to speak. I see Felipe also, so maybe Felipe and then Lina.
Okay, thank you so much, Sam. And yeah, very interesting, and I agree what colleague said. And I would like just to complement a few things, as this is also related to my previous questions. Intelligence is all about integration of all the data we have available. So not only the environmental data, but also social data, so we can build new solutions to solve problems related to, for example, help families in disaster risk situations, for example. And if we empower the youth with the right tools to do this kind of new applications and solutions, build using this multi-source capability, that will be very good and will empower youth to benefit from what we have so far. And also, this is one of the things we always try to do with the GEO Knowledge Hub in the GEO community. So basically, we have a lot of materials and resources available there, and we always showcase what is available to the GEO community, so the youth can benefit also from what the GEO community itself is producing. Thank you.
Yeah, I see your message also is a two-way process, basically. There is benefit for youth, and there is benefit for the full community from the youth. Yeah, Lena, you want to follow up?
Well, I would like to talk about the privilege I had to join the Youth Ideathon. The Youth Ideathon isn't just a funding to come to the Global Forum. Funded by the European Commission, we've been here for 5 days before the global conference. And in those 5 days, we have visited businesses, NGOs, smallholder farms, and seeing how they use Earth observations, Earth intelligence in order to support their productivity. And this has inspired us to think of solutions as well as focusing on the problem. It's not about us telling them what to do, but about listening to the people on the ground and seeing how we can support them.
And so I listened to you exactly, and what exactly do you think we need to move with the youth involvement in that? Because the question is here really like, how do we make this happen? By youth, but also with youth. So you've spoken with the Ideathon. I think it's a very good example to illustrate what Felipe was saying also. And maybe I will jump, Giorgio, also, because you have been brought by the Ideathon. Maybe can you explain a bit more what did you do since the first day? Because I remind you, Giorgio was not knowing at all GEO. So what's your feedback on that, basically?
Yeah, maybe it was a quite new experience, and the Youth Ideathon, funded by the European Commission, has been quite intense and both also inspiring, a very inspiring journey. Over the past week, 10 of us, 10 young people from all over the world, traveled all across Italy, from maybe Cattolica to Perugia, and finishing in nice vineyards coming in Frascati, where we face the challenges to tackle real-world environmental problems using maybe Earth observation data and remote sensing tools. But what made it truly unique wasn't the technology involved, but it was people. We met master farmers worried about pollution, city workers striving to make the urban system more inclusive and sustainable, and vineyard owners trying to preserve century-old traditions under threat from climate change, all of them. We didn't just learn, we listened to them. We looked at people in the eye, understood their needs, and worked together to design ideas that could actually help them, maybe. We prototyped, we failed, we adapted. We came from different disciplines, from different countries, tech, science, policy, design, and we learned how to speak the same language, even if we were different, a language of action, empathy, and collaboration too. Personally, I joined the Ideathon not knowing what GEO was. Now I feel part of something bigger and more ready to act, maybe. It's been a crash course in responsibility and possibility.
Thank you. Thank you. Very interesting, actually, and very nice way to join our committee. So welcome again. Let's move on something a bit different, because you are addressing now to, in front of you, you have here I don't know, maybe more than 100 official delegations from member states, from participating organizations. So that's maybe the moment to try to convince them also to see if GEO and its members invest in Goal 4, basically, today, what kind of organization and what kind of world you can expect to see in 10 years. And the opposite question is valid also. If they don't invest, how would be the world in 10 years? Someone would like to start? Lena?
I will only talk about member states and GEO investing in youth, because I do not accept not investing in youth. And in 10 years' time, what you will see by investing in youth is the youth being at the forefront of research and development. We will be the ones providing capacity development. We will be the ones becoming the mentors for other youth. We will take on this role. We make that promise to you. And this is not just about the people on the panel. This is about the whole youth community of practice that is now a part of GEO. This is about every youth member in the audience, and even the ones not in the audience, because we all have to come together. So by investing in youth, this is a scalable project. This will reach youth all around the world. And I must say that I am so impressed by the Youth Ideathon, as well as the other youth activities that we have been doing as part of GEO, financed largely by the European Commission and the European Union, because I am a part of a lot of youth organizations, and I have to say that this has been one of the most impressive experiences.
Thank you, Lena. Wait, Gong?
Thank you, Sam. I'm always picturing this in my mind, actually. If investing in Go 4, there will be a GEO with evolutionary DNA, where, youth evolve from participants to the core drivers of Earth intelligence. And I'm gonna just paint you a picture. Funding youth in the Sahel use satellite data, co-creating land revival plans. Meanwhile, the Pacific teams are cooking up storm prediction models that flip whole regional disaster systems on their head. And suddenly, Earth observation is not some ivory tower tech. It's every village becoming a live node in humanity's survival network. But what if we delay? Well, a gap will never be fixed. Earth intelligence tools might stay in labs, while youth would never have their basic data skills. And GEO's decision could fall behind climate disasters and losing touch with young people. And the biggest loss is missing what youth could offer. That is, they know their communities best, and they could turn science into real solutions. Back to you, Sam.
Thank you very much, Gong. Thank you, everyone. We are reaching out of the time for this session panel discussion, but I would like, just before we conclude this panel discussion, go to each one of you and ask you a very, very short sentence, please. What do you do currently at your own level to deliver on this SIP, on this action plan for GEO and for youth? Maybe we can start with Felipe and we follow.
Okay, thank you so much, Sam. So just to mention, as we have in SIP, the GEO infrastructure is one of the pillars for this SIP period. So I'm the lead developer in the GEO Knowledge Hub, and GEO Knowledge Hub is the digital library for Earth observation applications in the GEO infrastructure. And also, just to highlight, the GEO Knowledge Hub itself is a very good example in how youth can empower activities in GEO, because our team, we have myself and also Kalamkas, and both of us are part of the GEO Youth. So it's also possible to see that when we have the right opportunities and the right view and the directions, we can support the GEO Work Program activities and initiatives also. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Please, Nasipi.
So when it comes to what we are going to do, I am going to do personally, I think I have already started, because after the GEO declaration, we did not just sit and do nothing after drafting the youth declaration, but we came back to say, we said all those things, but how are we going to implement them? Because we had an action plan in the declaration. We promised that we were going to do something, but how do we get to do these things that we promised to do? And then we came back, we formulated the South African Youth GEO, which is a full structure. I'm sitting here as the capacity building coordinator for that structure. And we have very clear objectives and goals that respond directly to goal 4 of the SIP. We are clear in how we're gonna work with the industry, with the government, with the institution to bridge the skills gap that we identified, how we're gonna be involved in the citizen science, and with the support that I've been mentioning throughout that we are receiving from South Africa, from the South African GEO, from NEOS, and all the other government entities. We're not even worried about how are we gonna implement all those goals, because we know that we have full support and it's possible to implement all the goals that we've stated we have in our South African Youth GEO.
Thank you. Very inspiring, actually, work ongoing in South Africa. Lena?
I will be very honest. 3 years ago, I had no idea what Earth observation was. But I was lucky enough, as I was working for GIZ, the German Development Cooperation funded by Germany, to join GEO-LDN, a flagship of GEO. And I got to join the GEO community, supporting youth in that way. And also now being a part of the UNCCD Youth Caucus, wanting to bring together Earth intelligence to support combating desertification, land degradation, and drought. Those are my main goals, and not just about youth, but intergenerational dialogue. It's not only us. We want to speak to you as experts. We want to hear your experiences. It's very important for us to have you as mentors as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And Gong, in one sentence.
Sure. Like I just said, for China, we have several events under AOGO. I'm sorry. We have been running yearly training workshops that mostly train Asian youth so far. But right now, I get to know that my colleagues have got these awesome youth networks across regions. Why not turn this platform to Launchpad to get young partners across the world all in the mix? And also, I'm thinking setting more youth activities in LGO workshop and involve more friends to go with us. Trust me, I'm putting gas on the idea to make that happen.
Thank you. Very exciting. I like your motivation. And Giorgio, one sentence. What are your plans with GEO now?
So at my level, I'm just trying to stay engaged by learning, connecting with GEO community, and building small and concrete tools that make Earth observation maybe more accessible to people who need it the most. Thanks to the European Commission who sponsored the Yalta Diathon, and to Italy for hosting this event that became possible actually. And whether through local action or long-term innovation, I believe our role is to bridge the gap between data and actual impact, and to keep showing ourselves where it matters, where it really matters.
Thank you. Thank you. Good plans, very, very good plans for all of you. And I hope the young people who are in the room, they are also be inspired by you. So now, thank you for having participating to this panel, actually. And yeah, actually, it's not just about recognition. I guess it's about commitment. It's now a time to act also. And because you approved yesterday the new GEO work program, you may have seen that the work program now there is a GEO Youth Community of Practice. So it's an official activity. So we encourage you also and all your youth organization, youth contact to join our GEO Youth Community of Practice, and even more to get inspired by the South African example also, where they already put in place a GEO South Africa Youth Community of Practice. So by keeping our promises to young people, we just don't support their future, but I think that's valid for all of us. We shape the future of GEO itself. So now I would like to invite you, the official delegation in the room, the PO, the members, if you would like to share some commitments and help us to move this key goal forward, and I see already pancards that are raised, so please raise your pancart, and the team on the floor will send me your names so that I will give you the floor. So I see a lot of people. That's very good. So I see Germany. Please, Germany, you have the floor.
Yes, thank you, Sam. Thank you to the panel and for this interesting, inspiring session. And so Germany, as all of you know, has been a committed member of GEO since its inception. And as already stated this week, we remain invested in its long-term success. We strongly support Goal 4 of the SIP. And yeah, also the goal to enhance the participation of young professionals in the development of Earth intelligence, and we encourage member support. Our continued participation is rooted in the belief in multilateralism, scientific cooperation, and the power of shared data to derive equitable, sustainable development. We are committed to deepening our support for young professionals and ensuring they are not only included, but empowered to lead. We see this as a strategic investment, in our shared future. The global challenges we face, climate change, biodiversity loss, and environmental degradation, demand bold, collaborative, and forward-looking action, and cannot be met without the full engagement and consideration of the next generations.
Young professionals bring fresh and new perspectives, digital fluency and expertise, and an unwavering sense of urgency to the table. Their voices, our voices, the ones that we just heard, grounded in the realities of a rapidly changing world, are essential in shaping Earth intelligence solutions that are innovative, just, and future-oriented. True innovation and resilience come when we bring together voices from all regions, all genders, and backgrounds. Our efforts to support young professionals are closely linked with Germany's broader goals of creating fair, accessible, and equitable pathways into science, policy, and international cooperation. We recognize that today's decisions will shape the world that future generations inherit. Empowering young professionals and youth in the field of Earth observation means building a foundation for long-term planetary stewardship. It means equipping them, equipping us, to safeguard biodiversity, advance climate resilience, deliver Earth intelligence solutions, and carry the work of GEO into our shared future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I receive a speaker list that's long, so that's fantastic. So next we will have Netherlands, China, Ghana, and Japan. So Netherlands, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I heard let's say, two key words, ambition, innovation. I would like to add also business development and business support to that, really to deliver the intelligence to, let's say, to society. And I can, let's say, give you some insights from a program that the Netherlands government funded over the last 10 years. That's the Geodata for Agriculture and Water program. We've co-funded 25 partnerships to develop and deliver advisory and financial services to small food producers in 15 countries. They reached over 4 million and trained 4 million food producers, and 1 million were benefiting from this service. And I think it is important to recognize that you start with weather and Earth observation data, but you bundle it with a lot of other data to deliver an actionable advice or financial product to the services. And there's a whole chain, and what is important in that, it's not only technology, but it's also the user engagement, what is important. And what we have seen in this program, that the role of youth has been very important. It was not maybe visible at our start, but in the end, what we saw is that in many countries, small, medium enterprises were established to deliver these services and to do the user engagement. And I've personally been, for instance, in Indonesia, Myanmar, and I saw, let's say, the enthusiasm and the ambition of the young people. And now what we also saw is that they need support because they cannot, they don't have the finance, and they also need, let's say, access to finance to make their, how you call it, their dreams true. So I think, don't forget also about that aspect. It's, I think, a very important one. Unfortunately, our program is ended. We cannot continue to fund this kind of activities anymore, but we still on, let's say, training in the Netherlands, young people with Twente University, ITC, UNESCO, IESA. They are continuing to do that, but also the Netherlands government has programs to support young entrepreneurs, and I hope that other actors also will step in with access to finance, but because that is all needed to deliver the services to society. Thank you.
Thank you very much. China.
Thanks, Chair. As a long-standing champion of youth engagement within GEO, China has consistently worked to strengthen youth participation and capacity building through the institutional support and international collaboration. Our efforts have helped shape youth-focused initiatives that span both the regional and global GEO activities. One prime example of this commitment is that China's contributions within AOGEO, where we have institutionalized youth engagement as a core component of regional cooperation. The dedicated youth sections at the 2023 Macau and the 2024 Kunming plenaries demonstrated our concrete efforts to provide platforms for youth professionals to contribute to Earth observation discourse. So moving forward, China will deepen its support for the key GEO youth programs, including the GEO Youth Coordination Mechanism, the Youth Module Initiative, and the GEO Youth Ambassador Network. So through these channels, we aim to cultivate the next generation of Earth intelligent leaders and foster greater youth representation in global environmental governance. China remains committed to ensuring that the young voices are not only heard, but actively shape GEO's future directions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, China. The floor is now to Ghana.
Thank you, Amos, and thank you to the young panelists who are catalyzing this process. Ghana warmly welcomes the participation of the youth in this year's GEO Global Forum. We view this initiative as a powerful statement that the future of GEO must be shaped by the vision and voices of the youth. In Ghana, we are building youth capacity through LDN programs, GMES and Africa and Severe West Africa Youth Fellowships, innovation hubs, and practical hands-on skills training programs to develop a critical mass of young professionals with skills in Earth intelligence, GIS, and data science. We are inspired by the young people who are leading climate action, mapping land degradation, and applying Earth intelligence approach to agriculture and spatial planning. Ghana is committed to fostering a robust and inclusive Earth intelligence community which begins with empowering the next generation. Ghana is ready to collaborate with GEO and other international partners to elevate youth participation across Africa to new levels. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will have then Japan, South Africa, USA. Japan, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for your very insightful and energetic discussion. Actually, Japan held a young generation session at the AOGO Symposium in Tokyo last September. That was the first trial to have a face-to-face session of the young people. That was very nice session. And today's session is also very nice. And so we recognize and affirm the importance of the promotion of involvement of young generation in line with a goal for the post-2025 GEO strategy. And Japan will continue to support these activities. Thank you.
Thank you. South Africa?
Thank you very much. And I just want to also thank the very energetic young people that we have there. And I think following the declaration in Cape Town in 2023, South Africa proudly reaffirms its commitment to putting youth at the center of Earth observation efforts. This fully much aligns with Goal 4 of the GEO post-2025 strategy, which focuses on enhancing youth participation. We see young people not just as future leaders, but as present-day partners, innovators, change makers, especially in tackling the urgent challenges like climate change, biodiversity loss, and water scarcity. But most importantly, we also see them as partners in decision-making, because we want to make sure that even at this age, they realize that their inputs are not just being looked at for convenience, but indeed to be able to help us to build a future that they will be able to identify with. So it is for this reason that our priority is to ensure meaningful youth inclusion, which means real access to data, opportunities for skills development, mentorship, funding, and importantly, a seat at the decision-making table, both in South Africa and in global platforms. And that is really why every single year for the past couple of plenaries and various EXCO engagements, we make it a point that we support and pay for young people to be part of these engagements. So we have already seen how the South African youth are using Earth observation to create smart, sustainable solutions. We are committed to growing these opportunities and creating more space, especially now as you see the growing participation in GEO by the African caucus. We look forward to really having much more of our young people at the center, and we want to also take this opportunity to congratulate one of the young people who was the awardee of the events last night. It just shows that this is really our intentions to build the strong Earth observation community in the continent. So to help make this reality, I think mention was made around the South Africa Youth Community of Practice is a initiative that we are going to be supporting in a manner of ways, including financially, to just make sure that just as in terms of succession planning, we don't look around and find that we don't have leadership going forward. So thanks very much, and we encourage you, young people, to keep the good work, and we'll do our best to support you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will have United States, and then we will have some participating organizations. There will be ERSC, WDS, and Red Labot. So please, United States.
Thank you for this panel. The United States is pleased to see greater engagement of youth in GEO, including the GEO Youth Ideathon taking place this week during the Global Forum. We hear your call for innovation and for delivery of actionable information, and we encourage enhanced engagement in all of GEO's elements as participants in the member countries, regional GEOs, working with technical expertise and participating organizations, as well as through our associate members. We are on a journey of many years, and we welcome youth engagement throughout GEO's activities in the GEO Work Program and the insights provided by this panel. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. ERSC.
Thank you very much, and hello, everyone. Thank you very much for this uplifting and motivating panel. But we would also like to raise the issue which was mentioned by some of you, which is transition to the job market. And as the European Association of Remote Sensing Companies, we really try to contribute to bridging the gap between what is happening in the education and what is offered, what are the curriculum, and then what is actually happening on the job market, because you also mentioned youth unemployment, which is a growing issue. As a part of our work, we were involved in creation of Space for GEO Sector Skills Partnership, which is aiming at bringing together the representatives of education, decision makers, and the private sector to align all these initiatives to make sure that those who finish the education do have the offers on the job market, which is actually the goal of that. And secondly, as the association, as we work with the companies in Europe, through our research, we ask them, how easy it is to find appropriate, suitable, the profiles of the employees that they're looking for. And unfortunately, according to our newest industry survey, which you can find on our website, almost 80% of our respondents say that they have high difficulties with finding the right profiles. And I think almost 40% have some difficulties with identifying the right profiles. So we see that there is a gap between what is searched for, which is what the private sector is looking for, and what is actually offered in the education. And as much as we understand that it's a long process to adjust the offer of the education, and as we heard today from the countries joining the discussion, it is becoming a priority. As we can also say, based on our research, Earth observation sector, as for the 20 years of our research, the Earth observation sector is constantly growing. So we can already say that it's a well-established, stable sector, which is safe to invest in. That's why we believe it's crucial to proceed with that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. WDS.
Thank you. The World Data System, an organization that supports data repositories internationally, commends this youth panel for teaching us about what we can do to support the next generation, and in doing so make progress on the environmental and societal challenges that we face. The World Data System hopes to collaborate with GEO for capacity building and recognition of early career professionals. World Data System offers an early career network that strives to create opportunities to advance their career development and increase their visibility. Furthermore, the World Data System offers a Data Stewardship Award aimed at those within 10 years of their latest degree. Our latest winners were announced last week, with first place from China, second place to a candidate in the US, originally from Nigeria, and third place to a candidate in Canada, originally from Guyana. The next call will come in September, so we welcome submissions from the GEO community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Red Labot.
Yeah, thank you. Red Labot is a GEO laboratories network strongly committed to advancing early intelligence across the Americas. Our initiatives have impacted over 2,000 young people in 14 countries within the AmeriGeo context, fostering the next generation of geospatial leaders. In 2024, we realized the first Earth Observation Forum for Youth in the Americas in Panama, GeoUBEX, with 1,200 participants. This year, Red Labot is launching Earth intelligence standards for projects and expanding support for high school students, universities, and communities. These efforts directly contribute to the GEO mission and the development of a robust geospatial industry in the Americas, empowering diverse stakeholders to harness Earth observation for sustainable development and innovation. We focus on real solutions for real problems, using a social construction of the knowledge that empowers youth and communities and unleashes the power of Earth observations. Also, I would like to invite everyone to attend the AmeriGeo Week 2025 that will be hosted in Colombia in August 11 to 15 in Bogota. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you, our panelists. We are ending this session right on time. So please, great applause to you, to the panel, to the young people. And I will close very, very brief because I know there is some follow-up, there is a lunch, but I would like just to make an announcement now. We have been speaking a bit about the Ideathon, and if you want to learn more, and I strongly encourage you to join the room BC right now, right after this plenary session. You will discover the full team of the Ideathon participants, and they will do their final pitches, their final presentation. So you will see exactly concretely what does that look like and what did they achieve. So I strongly encourage you to follow this session. It will for a 45-minute session, so you will still have time to have lunch right after. Thank you very much for your support, and keep investing in GEO Youth so that you keep GEO 20.
Okay, can you hear me? Yes, that works. Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you very much for staying with us for this almost last session. So thank you very much for being with us. And of course, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone following us online all over the world. I'm Veronica Borejko, and I'm representing European Association of Remote Sensing Companies. And as an association representing the voice of European Earth observation sector, it is a pleasure to be opening and moderating the session dedicated exactly to the role of private sector in GEO and the implementation of GEO's vision and GEO strategy. We have our prominent speakers with us today. You see a panel, already some discussions happening even before the start of the panel, so that's a good sign. We also have pictures with us today, but before we dive into that, I would like to let you know what's the flow of today's session. So first of all, we would like to invite some keynote speakers to set the tone for our discussion and set the context for our session. Then we will dive into panel discussion with our prominent guests, and then we will move forward to industry pitches, including Earth observation solutions which are supporting the implementation of GeoVision and the Earth intelligence for all. And at the end, we hope we manage. We'll have some time to discuss to open the floor to all of you and hear some questions and comments from the audience. So to start the session, I will first like to invite GEO co-chair Stephen Waltz to open the discussion and say a few words from the GEO perspective. So please, Stephen Waltz, Assistant Administrator, Satellite and Information Services from National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration of the United States, please.
All right. So thank you, Veronica, and it's a pleasure to be here, and thank you everybody for joining this afternoon's session on strengthening the private sector engagement to deliver on GEO's overall vision. We're all very well aware that we have significant environmental challenges challenging all of our member states in the world and that we're all facing. We have no shortage of issues and actions that we could clearly be taking to improve the lives and the conditions of our people and our communities. And in GEO, we have flagships and we have initiatives, we have accelerators, we have addressing the GEO mission, we have communities of practice and providing services to all of our member states. And each of these activities draws on the contributed and sometimes funded efforts from GEO participants, and we still find we need more. We need more expertise, we need more resources, more and different tools, and the expertise to apply them effectively. So we have government federal agencies who are from the member states who are all working to solve this problem, and many of you are representatives from those agencies. But that is not enough. What we do from the federal side doesn't meet the challenge. Our resources are often restricted to within borders applications, and even when we are observing and collecting data globally. We have participating organizations who bring essential technical and thematic focus and skill, and many of you are also in the audience here. And these are essential partners in many of our execution activities, but they are not enough by themselves to do it either. The private sector engagement in developing Earth intelligence solutions has been a key priority in the United States for some time. The commercial companies can bring scalable resources at a cost, yes, not as a contribution necessarily, but at a cost that can be tailored to fit the immediate application in the local and direct communities where they're needed. And as well, having commercial sectors engaged from the start or in the beginning of as a surface is being developed can really help us appreciate the sustainability costs of these things so that we don't have to continuously have it contributed elements, but there's a way to understand how we can size it appropriately for the communities that are using it to use it effectively in the long term. And sustainability is one of our greatest challenges, sustainability of support services. So having the commercial sector as a part of that helps us all learn how to think like a company that has to be sustainable and operating for many years to go. We appreciate this forum's efforts to enable this meaningful private sector participation through this session, through the exhibit, and the ongoing dialogue that many of you have been having throughout the week. Within this context, we really welcome the growing participation of the private sector as GEO associates in this organization, whose participation adds those important skills and those resources to our overall efforts. And particularly this year, we're celebrating the addition of four new members associates, including Skywatch, Axel Space Corporation, European Space Imagery, and Wyvern, adding to in the 20s or 20 or 30 that we have in that group that are now providing it. So giving you an example then, as we focus today on bringing this together, I'll give you an example, one compelling example of how we work together with the private and the public is the example of the Streamflow viewer, which was developed by Esri through its ArcGIS Instant Apps platform. This viewer integrates authoritative data from GeoGlows, one of our GEO flagships, the U.S. National Water Model developed by National Weather Service at NOAA, a contribution that we are quite proud of and happy to see it used. And this tool allows users around the world, regardless of technical background, to visualize and interact with streamflow forecasts in real time. That's just one example of the application of the federal and the private working to meet the community needs. This kind of innovation really shows how private sector tools can extend the reach and impact of publicly available Earth observation data, empowering users from local communities to global institutions to make timely and informed decisions, reducing the need for customized data platform development for every local community that might want to use a piece of data. And this highlights the private sector's growing role in advancing practical, science-based Earth observation solutions, and I expect you're going to hear a lot more from this panel and the experts we have here today. Even so, within GEO, we need to make it easier for the private sector to be engaged. I think with routine attendance at all the plenaries and at all the open GEO meetings would be very beneficial. And one of our greatest assets from GEO is our convening power. We bring together the member countries, the private sector, the scientific communities, and the user communities together so that we can all work on the problems as a collective. And through today's session, I really hope we can explore ways to deepen the private sector engagement with the strengthening our partnerships and shaping a future where Earth observation supports the communities in a holistic way where all assets are brought to bear, using the most appropriate wherever they may be effective. And with that, I'd like to turn it back over to Veronica, who will, from the ERSC, who will chair this session and take it for the next step. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stephen, for joining us and for already drawing the attention to what we're going to discuss today. So strengthening the involvement of private sector and emphasizing how it's already, exploring maybe, how it's already involved in GEO and what can we do together as this active international community to even strengthen its role in GEO. And with that, we have two keynote speakers who, as I mentioned before, draw a little bit the landscape and the context for our discussions. And we will start with Giovanni Silos-Labini, Vice Chairman of ERSC, which we mentioned before, who I think represents on one hand a great private sector success story, so that will be nice to hear, but also to present a little bit the landscape of the Earth observation European sector. Please, Giovanni.
Thank you very much, Veronica. Thank you very much to honorable delegates of GEO. Thank you for the Italian Space Agency that have a very big role in the organization of this event. I have my presentation on?
Yes, I think if you click.
Okay. Essentially, I'm here to represent the voice of the European EO industry. ERSC is a very big representative of our capacity overall in Europe, but not only Europe, as we will see. The real situation is that the world is changing very fast. A fast world and changing the paradigm and the usual real trusted based is over. And this is very important for a multilateral organization like GEO, and I believe it's also important for what means Earth observation from the point of view of digital autonomy, security, climate change, emergency management, but also autonomy of different nations. In Europe, as we will see, we have the flourish of several government-funded constellation thanks to the Next Generation EU program, but this program will end in 2026. The industry footprint in Europe is huge. We have more than 140 associates in our association in 24 different countries. This is our strength, but it's also partially our weakness, because we have a very fragmented scenario. ERSC made each year a snapshot of the industry states, thanks also to the support of European Space Agency. And we have a growing number of companies, a growing number of employees, and consider these are data 2023. Now we are performing the 2024 analysis, but we had about plus 30% of revenue in this group. This revenue, and this is part of what I want to share with you, was partially needed due to the support of the so-called Next Generation EU, the funds that the European Union puts to support sustainability of industry after the pandemic. But a larger amount is due to defense spending. So we are in a situation in which essentially defense is the true driver of our market. While climate remains a priority, there is a lot of delay in the adoption from Earth observation from different governments and countries. And this is, even if in Europe there is an enormous effort made for Copernicus, and is well known how positive was the impact of Copernicus for the overall European community, but I can say to the global community, because the free and open approach of GEO, there is again a lower support from this activity. So what are the main challenges that our industry must face? In Europe, especially a fragmented demand offer scenario. We have a multitude of small, medium enterprise and a very dispersed, differentiated demand from the public. Don't exist, at least in Europe, but this is a little bit different in US, a consistent anchor tenancy demand from government in Europe. And there is a difficulty for a small company to grow at a larger scale. Then there is some consolidation, but these are happening around most on defense domain, and still there is not a consistent environmental demand to sustain this. And, well, we have a set of appointments very important on the European side, the next multi-annual financial framework, and the fact that we now have a directorate in the Commission that is dedicated to space and defense. We have the next ministerial conference where we have a very substantial package of activity for Earth observation. And we are discussing the European Data Act, and the policy about the use of the data is one of the important parts of all of this. Now, what we must push for is, as mentioned in the introduction, is essentially improve public-private cooperation in different areas, support our industry competitiveness and continuity at a global scale, also performing consistent activity in building, in capacity building in other countries. A more detailed report of this is in our industry report. You will see there several of the aspects that I described in more details. And now I leave to the Italian Space Agency the floor.
Yeah, thank you very much, and very interesting this point to be discussed because it's the point of view of the agency and the Italian Space Agency in this case. And let me say that one of the tasks of our agency is to support private companies in order to be competitive, in order to support innovation. And let me say that in general and in space, this is true, but it's more true in Earth observation. That is one of the most important space sector in Italy. And Earth observation, traditionally, the Space Agency in Italy supports development of satellites, operation, and the data and products still the standard level. But in this case, I want to present a new approach that we are applying, because recently we are moving also in supporting geospatial products and services, because we are developing an important system named IRIDE that is a change of paradigm for us. Of course, there are some game changer innovation, of course. We are in the development of services, digital twins, and the program as a case that we'll present is named IRIDE, have also services coming both from satellites that we are developing, but also using other sources of elements that will contribute in the realization of services. Then the first point is provide unprecedented capabilities to our citizens, to our society, for the benefit of our society, and exploiting the what-if scenario. Because let me recall that behind every pixel that we extract from satellite, there is human life. There are criticalities. There are floods, earthquake, something that we have to monitor in order to help our citizens. What else? Diverse satellite architectures. Then we see the tremendous impact of new ground sampling distance, high resolution in SAR, in optical, but also different type of sensors. And it's very important that the private sector will help us, and we will help us in sense of the institutions to realize this type of asset. Because one of the tasks of the agency of the institution is to help industry in order to acquire and to sustain the innovation, to realize payload that could be useful in order to replicate. One of the main points is to have high revisit time, to increase the revisit and provide a very frequent information about our land. Near-time products are in the services is one of the core output of this high-frequent, high-revisit constellation. And let me say, one of the points of innovation is artificial intelligence, machine learning to extract from the enormous database that we are, let me say, the data deluge that we have from our system, extract targeting critical areas like emergency security, but also climate change. What is the role for the private sector in our vision? Commercial entities are vital in translating the proto-flight asset, if we're speaking practically about the payload, but also translating scientific breakthrough, that also in this case could be from services, from application, from sophisticated algorithms, into operational services and scalable solutions. Other point is a very high, crucial role in democratizing climate insight by developing something that is user-friendly. Then acquisition of what is exactly the needs of the final user, of the citizen. The business-to-government synergies. We see also in sense of IRIDE constellation, 68 satellite. In order to be sustainable, we need partners. Only with partners and commercial interest in this complex constellation composed not only by satellite but with the output of geospatial products is important to stimulate the interest of privates and also make a vibrant ecosystem or smaller value-added services that only specific users and small eradicated on the territory companies could satisfy. This is the case of IRIDE programs that is built only for institutional, but we know very well that satellites are not only for one country, then have capabilities to be developed also and exploited for worldwide characteristics, with the worldwide characteristics, and complementing the asset that we have. Our idea is that not only the satellite capabilities, but also the fantastic work that our companies, more than 70 companies, are working in service segment, producing something that is useful for our citizens, could be considered a model for other countries, other regions, other continents. And at the end, only to give you an idea, we are developing more than 64 service value chain and 280 products, geospatial products from this system. Then our idea is to expand the geospatial EO-based products from this constellation as an example, because we can have other opportunities through collaborative partnership. And the partnership is, of course, between government and business and commercial private companies. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Francesco, for the presentation and the comments, and really, again, setting the scene for what we're going to discuss and the importance of the role of private sector helping public sector to actually implement the strategies and the vision that is being created by the decision makers. That's exactly the flow that we want to improve, and we want to brainstorm together how we could do that. So thank you very much, our keynote speakers. I hope you can stay with us with the panel and follow with us this discussion. And with that, we will move to the main part of this first part of the session, which is our panel discussion of the Earth observation trends and regional priorities. We have with us today 4 prominent speakers who are representing different GEO regions and different companies all over the world. And with them, we would like to go through this private sector perspectives from different continents and discuss with them what is happening in these specific regions and how we can contribute together to bring Earth intelligence to all everywhere. So let me first introduce all of our speakers whom we have today with us. We have with us Milena Lerario, the CEO of GEOs, representing from Italy. Wang Zhang, thank you very much for joining us, founder of Alibaba Cloud from China. Patricia Cummins, Director of Government Strategy and Policy Solutions of ESRI in United States. And Michael Breske, Director and Business Development from Swift Geospatial from South Africa. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us today. And as we already started with the perspective of the European Earth observation sector, I would like to ask, it will be a similar question to all of you, but basically to share what are the trends and what is currently shaping the Earth observation and GI landscape in your regions. And on the top of that, which is related to this landscape and this private sector perspective, what are the challenges faced by the companies to bring Earth intelligence to all? And I will direct this question first to Milena, as we were already discussing the European perspective, if you can complement to that.
Is working? Okay.
Yes.
Now, the red is not helping to understand. So thank you for the question. I think it's very important to start on what has been mentioned about public and private sector, on the fact that, well, I'm representing GEOs that by chance is a company that is combining both realities, because it's 20% Italian Space Agency and 80% Telespazio, so it's part of the big Leonardo group. And And saying that is very important in the moment we are living today, that is a fantastic, unique moment in the geoinformation and Earth observation. So we are in an era of democratizing a bit the satellite access and access to data. What we have really to take into account is the importance of using this data, processing them, giving report to the people that have to take the strategic decisions, so the expert on the fields, and say that is to put the accent, to underline the importance of this analysis that is done by experts. So we are talking about a lot space economy, new space economy growth. What we have to remember is that we need also people behind the experts that are helping analyzing this data. Otherwise, it's just, I mean, some information that needs to be processed is very important on that. And by chance, we are in Italy, and I think Italy at the moment is a fantastic hub for Earth observation. So we mentioned the presence of the Italian Space Agency, but not only, the presence of ESRI and also ESA in Frascati. And overall, I think it's an important landscape, thanks also to industry like Leonardo and so Telespazio and IGEOS, on the fact that we are able to, through services and not only analyzing data, but providing solution end-to-end to give this important return to the experts. So we go to maritime surveillance, to the really security and infrastructure monitoring. So there are really user case example we can mention. One of them on top of my head is Santa Lucia, so it's Caribbean island. We were able, thanks to the access of a fantastic constellation that is Cosmos SkyMed, that by chance is part of the Italian Space Agency, is owned by the Italian Space Agency and the Italian MOD. And thanks to this constellation, the very high quality data have been used to help emergency disaster early warning in this island. So what is important is also to underline the social impact that we are having in the world, thanks to the access to this data. And to refer on IRI, that has been mentioned by the colleague of us, it's the fact also that we are able, with the industry, to help and to support with the construction of the digital twin of Earth, is a replica, or want to be a replica of the Earth. I was in other event at the beginning of the weekend. I like maybe it's a bit mainstream, but it's an important sentence that sometimes we forget, that we don't have a planet B. The only planet we have is this one, and we need to preserve it. So the digital twin is helping to move from observation to prediction. That is critical at a certain stage. So I think it's important as industry and public sector, we have different responsibilities. The industry for sure to improve and to help and to be reactive on what are the needs of the users, and from the public sector also to have this flexibility, agility that it's the industry is called to have. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Milena. Oh. I suppose that the audience agrees, so that's good to hear. But I really like what you mentioned, that it's really about the analysis and what you do with the data, so that it's really the flow and use of information for the user, that it's actually useful for the end user that can benefit from that, not only bringing the data. So I think that's a great message to convey. Thank you very much. And then with similar question on the landscape and what is impacting the Earth observation and GI sector, then we're moving more to Asia, to China. The same question to John.
Oops, yeah. And I think it's really the time when thinking about what really Earth observation means, particularly at this time. There's a two reasons for that. The first is really about the satellite infrastructure. And giving the cost down for the satellites, that basically means actually we have a different way to deploy the satellite. So it's time thinking about the infrastructure itself. Okay? And thinking about the change in terms of the computer. So we are from the mainframe era to like PC. So today, given the cost down of the satellites, we are really at the era of the PC for the satellites, okay? that basically means that more people can benefit from this technology. That's the one thing. So I have to thinking about the how to build this infrastructure. And the one experience I had within China, you can see a lot of the small company and private small company, they can working together and to build a satellite constellation. And they could cooperation and collaborate to solve the problem. We probably don't have the opportunity to solve with a single organization or entity. So the first thing I want to mention is really about the collaboration is the key, particularly one to SME and the private sector getting involved. So when we're talking about the private sector, I think we have to get out of the traditional paradigm. We are talking about big company. We have to thinking about a small company and can do a lot of things. This is the one thing. The third thing in terms of technology is, as the mission of the GEO organization, the mission about the Earth intelligence. I think AI is really open the door for us to help the processing the data in a way we never had before. And this also gives a lot of opportunity for the small company as well, okay? And so that basically means, that some of the scenario we don't have a way to solve, and today it gives a way to solve that. And particularly you're thinking about, if we could put like computing and AI into the space, instead of get all the data back to the Earth and do the processing and send back. So real-time processing and timely response is getting more real, okay? And today, it isn't a good time to thinking about it with new technology, and it's given a new scenario for the Earth observation, particularly for like emergency handle for every city. And in terms of the regional priority, I think that every city, probably you really cannot, classify, by country. I would say it would be like by every city, they probably have different priorities, okay? Because every city is different. Like in China, I personally have experience, the traffic problem is a big problem for the big city in China. And even like in China, even small city have over a couple of million people, okay? That they call it small city. So the traffic is already a big problem. But one of the experience I had is we using actually the satellite image to help the city to figure out what's really the traffic problem. So, usually, typically, every city use the car register to describe the situation of the traffic, okay? But we do turn this index to another one. We're basically counting every car on the road. Again, I want to say, we're not monitoring the car, but we're just counting the car on the road. And helps the city to figure out what the problem is. And the number actually is very surprising. With like my home city, which is Hangzhou, and they have like a number of the registered car is over 3 million, okay? And surprisingly, during the peak time, I mean, it's a traffic hour, it's a peak time, only 10% of the car actually on the road. So it's only like, it's amazing, 10% of the car on the road and called all the traffic problem. And with this number, and the local government changed the way how to solve this traffic problem. Instead of, just build more road, which costs a lot of resource, or like, make some regulation to allow, particular number of the car can go on the road. That's caused a lot of problem for the local citizen. So with this example, I do believe with the new capability of Earth observation, with the new capability of to do the processing, and we may provide a different way to solve the problem that we have today. So just help us ask a different question. So again, to summarize, with the technology, we can have new infrastructure, and so the small company could be very active in this one, and also could allow us to ask a different question than we asked before. And that's my comments for that. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Jan. Thank you very much, and especially the part where I really resonate based on also what Giovanni presented before. I really resonate with the fact that we need to have different kind of discussion to make sure that what is created is actually aligned with what is needed, and that really these solutions answer some real life problems of users that we have. And indeed, as we mentioned before, such initiatives like GEO, such organizations like GEO, bringing together these different stakeholders are a great space to start this discussion and fix, or at least improve, if not fix, the process of that. Thank you very much. And with that, traveling the world, moving now to the United States and to Patricia. Also, what are the trends then in the United States? What is currently impacting the companies, and what are the challenges regarding the delivery of Earth Intelligence for All?
Thank you very much, and I certainly echo the comments made by my fellow panelists here. But I will take a slightly different tact looking at this, and I think one of the biggest trends that we're seeing, not only in the US, but I think we see it globally, first that the demand is changing and the expectations are changing. People are expecting instant gratification. They want things right away. They don't want to wait for answers, and they don't want it to be hard. They want it to be quicker and easier. But I think that the private sector is really, we're tuned into that, just like GEO is, but we're also making progress. We're looking at things like, we can't look at systems separately anymore. It's a grand ecosystem. We can't have Earth observations here and GIS there and in situ data here and engineering data here. It all has to come together in this ecosystem that can help drive that information, help us develop the what if, ask better questions and get better answers based on information driven by geospatial technologies. And I think the technology is in a place to do that. We really can accelerate there now. And in that kind of ecosystem, we think about the technologies coming together. I think the communities, the players are coming together too. And GEO is a great example of that, where we have countries coming together to work across borders, and we have the participating organizations and the private sector. And I think we're all thinking about these same challenges. If you look at GEO's goals, going to Earth intelligence, not just data sharing, that's old news, but we really need to get to that intelligence. How do we work together to derive that intelligence? One of the goals looks at emerging technologies. If GEO doesn't leverage the private sector partners and the innovation and work that they're doing there to deal with digital twins and to look at all the real-time technologies out there and how we apply AI in our space, we won't move forward as fast as we could if we do that together. So I think that's really key, that we look at the human and the organizational ecosystem and the technology ecosystem to move forward. I know we've had an opportunity, Esri's been involved with GEO since the beginning, and we've been very proud to be part of a number of innovative programs. You heard Dr. Bolt speak earlier about the GEO Glows. We saw that yesterday as well in the video. And I think what that represents is a real success story where they came at this problem of anticipating stream flow and flood and early warning and said, okay, we need a team of multiple countries, we need a real regional GEO to come together, academia and private sector. And that cohesive team has worked together for years to iterate and improve. And now that we're at this point, we really have a working kind of that research to operations example that takes the skills, the best capabilities from the different sectors coming together to push that forward. So we can create those dynamic web services and deliver those at scale anywhere in the world. So there are different things we can bring together. We do the same with the great work of amplifying the work of Digital Earth Africa. They have great resource in the data, and if we can bring our skill set for some of the spatial analytics and the services and bring that to scale, make it more discoverable to our millions of users out there, that amplifies the good work of GEO. And one last example we're in the earlier stages of is collaborating with the the team of subject matter experts working on the ecosystem atlas. And we can bring a different perspective to work with the ecosystem experts, bring in our spatial analytics technology and some of that data processing, and how do you deliver and synthesize that data. So I think there's a role for all of us to play, and I think that's a demand we're seeing in the global society and in the business community, as well as in GEO. So it's a perfect coming together, I think, to address those trends.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for that. Round of applause as well. I mean, indeed, for sure, the discussion following the use of AI and how it changes everything in our sector is another great panel we could have. So, but for sure, as you both mentioned, that will keep on impacting the service providers, but also, as you mentioned, the users, because that's why it also changes their perspective of how long to wait for the service, how fast they can get the information that they're requiring. So, so for sure, this is a trend that will keep on impacting not only our sector, but many sectors globally in the future. And with that, we're traveling now to Africa and to Michael. And actually, I think from Africa, just like as a side note, we know that it's Earth observation is really blooming there. As we are now, the rest of our team is in Ivory Coast at a big event, also promoting Earth observation and raising awareness. And we know that there's a big the market is very interested and is very open, and there are companies being created, but also they're open to collaborate with other service providers from all over the world. And I'm curious then, what's the inside perspective on that?
Thank you very much. It's always tricky going last on the panel because I feel like everyone said everything that I was meant to say already. But I want to break down the question into kind of the two parts, which is really prevalent, is trends and challenges. Right? So what are the trends and the challenges? And I feel like a lot of the trends have already been set out before me. You know, all the buzzwords, AI or deep learning, machine learning, digital twin, and I'm pretty sure there'll be a couple more buzzwords by the time the conference is finished. I'd like to echo what Patricia said, is that we're seeing a lot of the trends of I want the answer now. I'm not too bothered about what satellite is being used or how the processing is done, more along the lines of an instant gratification. Very similar to my child turning on Netflix and just picking whatever they want, and they want it now, you know. But I think the key question there in the trends is that we've got to remember, what are we doing it for in the first place? So I remember getting into this industry with the main objective of decision support. Right? That was the goal, and that's why we started Swift, and that's why I do what I do, is because we've got to look at it from that perspective, is decision support, and why are we building? Do we need another platform? Do we need another GeoPortal hub? Do we need another this? Where is the end goal of this? How do we get that to the end client to make a decision support? Not to give them the answer, but to provide all the information for them to go forward and make their own decisions, and not just believe everything that AI tells you to do. And there it brings me into the challenges section of it. From an African perspective here, is that there's a duality here. On the one end, I would think that Africa has the biggest potential, as you mentioned in the beginning of growth. I remember in the plenary, and I'm looking around here at the name tags, and I don't see many African countries' names here. Right? So there's a gap there, but then there's also that opportunity to grow within that sector, and I'd love to see in the next 5 to 10 years how that sector grows. But on the downside, and why aren't we seeing this growth within the African perspective, if you've got so much potential? And it probably comes back to inconsistent infrastructure. You know, and by that I'm talking mainly around internet, right? And I'm not just talking, do you have access to internet? And I'm also talking about, which is generally not the case, but I'm also talking about how quick is your speed of your internet, right? So fantastic apps and dashboards have been developed, but if you can't access them because you don't have a desktop or a phone, or if you do, but you can't create anything on your phone for decision support, that's a massive challenge that still exists today on the African continent. But I also hate that word challenge, because I think it should be rather changed to opportunity. And therein lies the opportunity with the private sector, with GEO, with government entities, to try and bridge that gap between data and decision, right? Not decision as in yes or no, but the decision, how do we get it to the end client that's going to make the decisions to enhance their food security, for argument's sake. And I think that's where I'm really looking forward to in the trends. Is not a challenge, is looking at that as an opportunity to see how we can grow and how we can bridge that gap. Moving maybe into something more offline repositories, back to paper maps in certain areas. Sounds archaic, but they are still very, very useful. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Michael. And a round of applause as well. Thank you very much for these comments, and you actually made an introduction and transition to the second topic I wanted to ask you about, so that's good that you mentioned that. Because indeed you mentioned this initial goal, the square one, where we actually do it for the decision making, and we're doing it for the user. So I'm wondering, what are the most promising innovations, you think, that will be enhancing the decision-making supported by Earth observation and GIS? It can be both from your portfolio and your experience, or your work with users, or maybe just the knowledge of network.
Thanks. Sorry, guys, you're listening to my voice again, 2 in a row. Once again, thank you for the question. I think along that sense, we're seeing on a South African scale, obviously where the company is based, we're seeing a lot of innovations and promise coming out of government. I know it was mentioned earlier in the day, particularly on SANZA and NEOS. We're starting to see a bigger drive to produce the type of data, but not only keep it in-house, but to disseminate and also work with private entities. And not be scared of the collaborations and the benefits that can come from collaborating. There's a wonderful product along the lines of food security within South Africa, along the lines of agriculture monitoring. Water monitoring is obviously a massive problem for us in South Africa as a drought country. And so keeping an eye and understanding on water levels is important. Informal settlements, where are they being developed? How do we provide access and services, right? So we're seeing a lot of Earth observation. But I think the real important aspect, and what I'm really excited about, was I was sitting there earlier today, and it's the 20-year anniversary, and I thought to myself, what was I doing 20 years ago? And I realized about 20 years ago, I had qualified as GIS and geography out of the University of Pretoria. And there were 4 people in the degree doing geoinformatics, remote sensing geoinformatics. In the whole of university, 4 people, right? And I was like, okay, is that is it a stigma? Do parents not want their kids to go into GIS? Is there no money? You must rather be a doctor or a lawyer. But nevertheless, there were only 4 people. I gave a guest lecture at the University of Pretoria last year. And that same class that I was in 20 years ago is now sitting at roughly 75 people, right? And what that says to me is that's the key, particularly for South Africa and Africa, is that growth. We're seeing that number of people coming now into the marketplace when we saw the young generation earlier, those ideas, disruptive ideas, that's exactly what we need. 20 years ago, there were 4, and now there's 75. Well-educated, brilliant minds coming out into the industry. And so from an Africa and South Africa perspective, I think that's where the key lies, and really, really looking forward to the future. Thanks.
Thank you very much for that. And I think it really, yes, exactly. Thank you very much for this contribution and connection to indeed this session with youth. And indeed this growth and alignment with education has to be happening at the same time. Because we need to have the experts to work on that as well, and to be able to respond to the needs of our users. And with that, as we're running out of time before we move to pictures, I will move to the second topic So we were discussing that private sector can be contributing and impacting the delivery of Earth intelligence to all, especially through GEO, and as we are discussing that today. And I wanted to ask Jian, what do you think about that? What are the ways for the private sector to contribute, how you maybe contribute to that, and what are the tools for you for that?
Yeah, I think that's a very different way, so it's a good time. And so for me, actually, particularly my experience in China, so private mean a different thing, so in a sense. Again, if you have in the four quadrant, you can see, okay, we have the private, we also could have a commercial company, also have private, also have the nonprofit, okay. And again, as I mentioned before, we have small and big. So we really want to make sure that actually we make sure that actually all these will drive the innovation, because innovation, at the end of the day, is our original force to solve the problem, okay? And so one thing I think, particularly in terms of the policy and the strategy, we want to make sure all the policy strategy, we will make sure it's friendly. Again, I want to mention for the small company, that's one thing. The second thing, we have to have a different role for the different parties getting involved in this, because they have different responsibility. They can afford the different risks, okay? And some risk, the government could take, but a company can't take, okay? But some risk, a company can take, but for a company, they can't take that. And even more, for me personally, I'm more interested in how we can best use the private and nonprofit organization. So they could take some of the risks, okay, probably no other organization could take, okay. And I feel very proud because, at age like me, 30 years ago, you really cannot find any organization, nonprofit, private organization doing some risk innovation. But today, you can do find this kind of organization within China. I think that's particularly important for the GEO, because all the challenge that we have, that GEO eventually help to solve, is a global challenge, okay? And so we have to make sure that actually we could pretty much use all the possible opportunity that we have. So the private and non-profit is one of the things. That's one thing. The second thing is really about an ecosystem. So for me, the ecosystem is not just a company, a big company, there are some other people surrounding him. So for me, the ecosystem is really about how to allocate the innovation resource for different parties, okay? And so for me, I'll be very interested to explore with the GEO, how the GEO could help small companies to do more things within your framework, even though that, that's not probably that's not the tradition of that. So like just a couple of months ago, and as I mentioned, there's a small company in my hometown. There's only 20 people. They actually work with the company in the Southeast Asia and Egypt, okay, to really help them to launching their own satellites, okay, for their particular city. So I would say that's the reason that I'll say we have to rethink about our infrastructure. Probably eventually, not having a big organization to having thousands of satellites for the GEO observation, we probably could having every city has own one satellite, but they interconnect together and work as a whole system. And this will change the landscape, how we look at the GEO situation. Again, I want to emphasize it is a great time to do the innovation. So it's a time that have a lot of things that destruction is going to happen. So it's not really just a continuing of what we had before, but so that's a golden time for different people working together. Yeah.
Thank you very much for that, Jian. Thank you very much for that. And indeed, that's already high-level vision, but for sure that's a good idea, and I think a good way forward to proceed. And also focusing therefore on this way forward in the future, I want to direct my next question to Milena to ask about what do you think is what has the potential to support the upscaling of Earth observation services to respond to the commercial user needs, especially as we discussed the discussion with the exchange with the users and their needs. What do you think has the best potential for that?
As mentioned before, there is a more democratic access to space. So it means an incredible number of satellites orbiting, and so a number of data we can access. So to do that and to access to these high volumes of data and process them, we need artificial intelligence, machine learning, and high-performance computing. So for sure at EGEOS, at Leonardo, we have access to the Da Vinci, that is one of the most powerful high-performance computer in the world. But again, we have to do it with, let's say, in a smart way. So what is for me important is the fact that it's not only the Earth observation. I think we have to move to what I call Earth intelligence as a service. And as a service is the most important part of the sentence, because again, we come back to the user needs. So we are in an era where I think we are a kind of exploitation of technology innovation related to Earth observation. What is important to do it is to stop and think if this is what the users need. Otherwise, technology lasts a bit as technology for sake, and I don't think we are interested in that. So I think it's important, again, to keep this communication channel with the users and to understand what they really need, and then to really simulate with our tools and which is the high volume data processing power we have, and then to put it at the service again of the world at the end.
Thank you very much for that comment, Milena. And then the last question to our panel, which I will direct to Patricia, following up on what we have been discussing this week and the strategy implementation plan. Because it was presented yesterday, and I'm sure that some of you are already familiar with that. But the question is how, through this new strategy implementation plan, GEO can support the involvement of private sector or the role of the private sector.
Yeah, thank you for the question. I think there have been interesting discussions around GEO post-2025. We're really at a milestone here. And I think the SIP, the Strategy Implementation Plan, really opens the door for a new way for GEO to think about how they want to engage with the private sector. I think it's a real opportunity, and I think there's some things written into the SIP that set the foundation for that conversation to happen. And I think some of the framing that we need to do around that, first, we need to do it together. We need to be part of that conversation as we chart that path forward. But just like countries are different and your priorities are different and your expertise, your skill sets are different, private sector is also very different. We have private sector, some are satellite hardware companies, and some are service providers, some are software providers, some may just be on a mission that aligns with something GEO is interested in. So I think we really need to have GEO look across the board and not just think about the private sector as one thing, or private sector, some may be funders, which is great, and I think GEO can serve them very well and a good relationship there. Others may have strengths by being in-kind contributors, and I think we need to acknowledge that, whether it's in-kind software or data donations or in-kind subject matter expertise and services and working on projects. But I think we really have to have an open mind to that. And I think as private sector, we can also think about how we want to engage and maybe expand that. At Esri, we've been contributing in-kind services to many projects over the years. We could in the future look at, is it appropriate to make some kind of a financial contribution to support GEO overall, rather than just get involved in a work program activity?
So I think there are many ways we can think about it. I do think GEO can rethink how they approach the private sector. I think GEO has a history of a very kind of can-do, do-it-yourself, we can do it, which is usually a really good thing. But I think in some cases, like in this case, I think it has, by holding private sector perhaps at arm's length, I think they've cut off some opportunities to engage further, to go faster forward. So I think there's some opportunity to rethink that. But I think there's such great potential. We are all aligned, as many people here have said, we want to do good. We want to take care of the planet. And we know that it's going to take a global effort to do that. And all the different players in that ecosystem, from technology ecosystem to the people and organizational ecosystem. So I think there's an awful lot of opportunity on how we can go forward. I think the strategic implementation plan gives us the framework to explore that and make it what we want to be to really go forward. So I think I just invite us all to kind of reimagine what the relationship could be to create that world we want to see going forward.
Thank you very much, Patricia. That's a nice sentence exactly to close our exchange. So thank you very much for that. And thank you very much once again to all our panelists contributing to the discussion. Panelists are staying with us. We will have a moment for questions at the end. And now we will move to the pitching part, which we mentioned at the beginning. So industry pitch session, which will build a little bit on top of on what we discussed, because now we would like to go again, travel around the world and see different Earth observation solutions which are contributing to the implementation of GeoVision and bringing Earth intelligence to all. So I will be inviting our pitchers one by one, and we'll start with Tobias Leisman, representing Constellar from Germany. Here you have the clicker, and I'm putting your name in your
Okay. So thank you very much. I have 4 minutes. I can see if I can press them into 7. Okay, starting right now. So we are, Constellar, we are flying our own thermal satellite constellation. So we are just launched our first satellite, launching the second satellite in a few weeks, third satellite in a few months. And our mission is to measure land surface temperature at so far not available high resolution, high accuracy, and high revisit time. Meaning that we will deliver land surface temperature at 10 meter up to 5 meter resolution, also visible near-infrared data at 5 meter acquired at the same time. And we're starting with a 3-day revisit time. If you look at daytime data, if we can add nighttime data, it's even 1.5 days. And we'll go to sub-daily in 2027. And adding to that, we will have an accuracy, an absolute temperature measurement accuracy of below 2 degrees, which is important if you look at agriculture and environmental protection. Because what we actually measure with land surface temperature is also the balance of the atmosphere and the vegetation. And I'll come to that later. So why are we doing that? Because thermal data from Earth observation is not yet widely available. What you can get right now is either you can get Sentinel data every 1 or 2 days at 1 kilometer resolution. You could get Landsat data at 100 meter resolution every 8 to 16 days. And we are aiming at the 10 meter resolution, if you can see here on the right, every 3 days from the beginning and sub-daily in 2 years. So why? What are we going to do looking at these fields in the Champagne region in France? You can see that land surface temperature in agriculture really changes a lot spatially and temporally. So in each one of these images, you can see fields between 27 degrees to almost 47 degrees. So it's 20 degrees difference on the same day and changing week by week. And this gives you so much insight into the health of a plant and the development of your fields, and gives you indication on crop yield prediction, on the stress, on disease stress, and so on. And I bring you one example. of that, looking at a field that we analyzed in the US, looking at a well-irrigated and a lightly irrigated part and monitoring that over the whole growing season. We could see a temperature difference appearing when it became hotter of up to 5 degrees Celsius. And the lightly irrigated part was 5 degrees Celsius hotter and also had a yield that was below 60% of the yield of the other part of the field. So this actually works. And closing already, so I have actually pressed it into 3 minutes, not 7. So we will be offering temperature to data from right now, from this year on, in different formats and different resolutions, and I would be happy to contribute with that to anything you want to do with it. Thank you very much, and handing over to the next one.
Thank you very much. That's even under the time. Very well prepared, Tobias. Thank you very much for that. And now we're moving to our local representative, Mauro Manente, from Latitude 40. Please.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I'm Mauro Manente. Thank you to give us the chance to present what we do in Latitude 40, and thanks all of you to be here listening to me. What we do, we apply artificial intelligence to Earth observation products with a focus to sustainability of places, in particular of smart cities. And we do this for, of course, smart cities or digital integrators and real estate companies. Some examples of our derivative products are the land surface temperature, 4 times per day. We are friends. We are not competitors. Then we use to do this Sentinel-2 with a downscaling proprietary algorithm, so it's completely different technology. We monitor and surface urban intelligence, the physiological equivalent temperature, so all the KPIs that are useful for cities or for who is managing places or smart places to understand what's going on related to climate change effects. Most of our products are available on our digital marketplace, that is at DataPlace, and we also developed our software as a service platform that is at Data Insights. This is available for customers that want directly the insights, that are maybe not addicted to data processing. So just a use case that I want to present to you. What we do is trying to figure out what's going on in a what-if scenario, evaluating the urban changes in urban regeneration projects, so changes of the land cover for a building, for example. In this case, we analyzed the building in Rome, evaluating several aspects of the environmental impact, but I have the same time from the colleague before. So we are focusing on the land surface temperature and urban intelligence and the evaluation of photovoltaic potential index. How it works, we take in as input the regeneration project as a master plan that can be input by the developer himself using our web dashboard, or providing us the master plan itself. So what we do is, this is for the before and the executive project's image. So what we are analyzing is what happens before they are going to build the building on the right, and digitizing the urban regeneration project, and producing a synthetic satellite image, radiometrically correct, that allow us to make all our analysis. Here you find what we deliver in terms of land surface temperature before on the left and after on the right. We create a synthetic digital surface model to evaluate the surface that can be applied to photovoltaic potential. And then we estimate the photovoltaic potential index that allows the project to be evaluated in terms of the value that is giving to the environment and the economic assessment. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mauro. And we're moving to another Italian representative, Filippo Tognon from TRI. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. It is a pleasure to have the opportunity of present the company TRI that I represent. TRI is a small company that strongly believe in Earth observation data and want to spread this as a fundamental support for environmental consulting. We present today a field of consultancy where we are particularly strong, so satellite-derived bathymetry. As you may know, satellite-derived bathymetry consists of measuring water depth to understand coastal erosion, deposition area, and dynamics around the coastal zones. But for sure, satellite data helps this monitoring and increase the advantage of comparing with traditional techniques. For sure, these are incredible complex area because of turbidity, because of vegetation, and a lot of other variables. We use multispectral data, mainly Sentinel-2, but we can also integrate with other kind of satellite data, and we apply custom machine learning model. Our idea of this service is a dynamic custom on-demand focused on specific areas. We have successful mapping in different positions of Italy and also abroad. We collect the data in situ, we process data with our algorithm, and we validate to provide high precision estimation. I show just an example of our work in the lagoon of Grado Marano in the northern part of Italy. Our public committee asked us to give a map mainly for channel navigability and biodiversity, and we were able to develop an algorithm and an online platform to make large area and high temporal resolution data available on this area. This is just an example of the map. This is in full color and without scale, but we reach really precise results. In terms of precision for water depth in channel area, the precision were more or less 10 centimeters. That is really good also for project support or for have an idea at high temporal resolution of dynamic of water dynamic. We close the circle from our point of view with an online platform that gives the possibility to stakeholder and to end users that are not really confident with satellite data or programming to assess this information and to use it for different kind of purpose. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Filippo. And with that, we're traveling the world again. And now we would like to invite Yara Villanueva, representing Axel Space from Japan, to take the floor.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Yara from Axel Space, and I'm so deeply honored to be here today because of two main reasons. First, Axel Space just joined GEO community as the newest GEO associate member. And yeah, thank you very much. And second, we are actually the first private company from Japan who joined the GEO community. And so we hope to set the precedent to engage or to strengthen the private sector engagement within Japan and within the Asia-Pacific region. So we're based in Tokyo. Axel Space designs, develops, and operates its own microsatellites. We've launched 10 spacecrafts to date, with 1 more launching next month, this June, and 7 more satellites to be launched next year, 2026. But what sets us apart isn't just the hardware, it's how we connect the upstream to the downstream to deliver real-world impact. Let me share a few examples of this in action through highlighting 3 different use cases where we co-develop with public sectors around the world. First, in the Maldives, we are partnering with the Maldives Space Research Organization, or the MSRO, in coordination with the Maldives National University and a local government unit called Nunu Atoll Council in Maldives. The goal is to strengthen the local capacity for coastal management and to help the partners such as MSRO and the Nunu Atoll Council to make informed decisions using our data. So this is the coastal monitoring dashboard that we have co-developed with them. So this is us and them as well. So tailored to local needs and powered by our satellite data. Next, we go to Mongolia. We're working with another local company in Mongolia called MonMap in coordination with our Ministry of Agriculture to build a national agri-mapping framework addressing the lack of reliable, up-to-date crop type data for planning and food security. So we supported a nationwide crop type map using a GRIS1 imagery to deliver a consistent and high coverage. This enabled a better agricultural statistics, seasonal monitoring to inform a policy and planning. Okay, so this shows actually our satellite capture plan, highlighting the scale and consistency of our coverage across Mongolia. And this is a local example of the crop type mapping that we did with them. Again, it's a co-development, one farm area where we process in detail, illustrating the kinds of insights now possible at both the local and the national level. This is a forest monitoring use case. Apologies, a very minor correction. This is in Zambia. We are collaborating with the public sector. We call it the Zambia Ministry of Green Economy and Environment. This is actually our program or a project with the GEO under the GFOI to support their sustainable landscape program. So we aim to address the lack of high-resolution forest and land use data by providing our imagery for their LELC mapping and local capacity building. Our aim is to support Zambia's forest monitoring and sustainable management. So this slide shows our initial capture operations we are starting with the Eastern Province, including a ground truth map in the middle, which is from the Zambia team as well. Again, we are co-developing this with them. To end my presentation, so in all 3 countries, the approach is the same. We listen, we co-create, and we empower. We are not just scaling our satellites, we are also scaling our commitment, because as a GeoSASET member, that's actually also our mission. With that, I just wanted to say that, again, we're so happy to be here, and we're so excited to collaborate with all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Yara, and indeed, I think it's already showing the collaboration of GEO, the fact that you're here as a member, so thank you very much for joining. And with that, we stay in Asia, but now we would like to invite Ding Jong-un, representing Tianbo Electronics Information Technology. Please.
Thank you. Dear colleagues, good afternoon. Today, I'm very happy to give a short presentation titled The Earthquake Precursor Monitoring Technology Using the Ground-Based Atmospheric Sounding. The atmosphere is a partially ionized upper atmosphere between 50 kilometers and 1,000 kilometers. It is experimentally proved that the atmospheric anomalous variations are frequently observed before an earthquake. For example, before the Chinese Wenchuan Manchuria earthquake on May 12, 28, the maximum electron density on May lines is 4 times the normal values, which is very remarkable. In this figure, the left figure is the result observed by the vertical Allen sound in Chongqing site. Use the vertical Allen sound measurement in tens of earthquake events we make the statistical analysis of the atmospheric variations. We found the disturbed area is usually several hundred kilometers. In this figure, we used 3 vertical sound measurements. It seemed that the detailed information is unclear. To uncover the fine distribution of atmospheric disturbance, we need the better resolution, less than 100 kilometers. The vertical sound is the most commonly used atmospheric equipment. It's, in fact, one kind of simple transmission and receiving radar. If we installed one oblique receiving sound, like this picture, we can get the atmospheric parameters in the middle point. The distance between the vertical sound and the middle point is less than 100 kilometers. We have constructed one trail network in north of China in 20 lines. At present, several publications have introduced this network. In this network, 4 vertical sound, including Beijing, Xinjiang, Qingdao, and Changchun sound, are used. We construct 20 oblique sound. We get the horizontal resolution about 50 to 100 kilometers. The data had been widely shared and used in daily forecast operation and scientific research in the Chinese Earthquake Administration. We also construct a large trail network in the Sichuan-Yunnan area, which is a high seismicity area in China. At present, more than 200 vertical sound have been installed and in operation. So we suggest we installed some oblique sound in the high seismicity area, such as the Circum-Pacific seismic belt with the built vertical sound nearby. Thus, we can achieve the high-resolution observation to support the global earthquake monitoring and forecast. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the presentation. And now we're again traveling the world, now going to South Africa, and the presentation will be given by Claire Dufault, representing CLS Group. Please.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Veronica, for the invitation. Dear GEO community, it's a great pleasure and honor to pitch today on behalf of my dear colleague of CLS South Africa. Indeed, CLS is a French company founded 40 years ago by the French Space Agency. Our headquarters are in France, but we have also subsidiaries all over the world. And I will talk today about the activity of CLS Southern Africa. CLS Southern Africa was formed 4 years ago by the merging of 2 well-established Southern Africa companies supporting the marine industry. Today, 4 years later, this company extends its range of activities, and they cover from ocean monitoring up to animal tracking, wildlife tracking, satellite communication, IoT solution for data collection, not only the maritime sector, which was at the beginning. This year also, with the launch of the new Keynote constellation, a French constellation, we will have the opportunity to rely on very good real-time communication thanks to this new constellation.
As for agriculture and livestock management, there are many ways Earth observation can support farmer and policymaker in bringing valuable information. EO-derived parameters such as vegetation indices, soil moisture, land surface temperature, as we saw before, or water availability can help improve a lot the productivity and animal health. In South Africa, in particular, monitoring pasture quality and water availability can enable better decision action in these vast rangelands. If GEO becoming a critical tool in bridging the gap between environmental condition and on-the-ground action, it needs to be complemented by accurate in-situ observation. Okay. Sorry. Indeed, real-time field data and or manual observation are needed to validate and refine Earth observation parameter and derive indicators. Moreover, in South Africa, diverse and arid landscape, in this arid landscape, combining Earth observation with field information like livestock satellite tracked color monitoring animal health provide a comprehensive view of animal behavior and well-being. This synergy between in situ and observation coming from satellite enables proactive decision in herding daily action. This was few samples of the solution that my colleagues in South Africa are developing with our help on Earth observation expertise, and I thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Claire. And with that, we're moving to our final pitch, not the end of the session, but the final pitch by Dexter Jagula, representing Skywatch from Canada.
Good afternoon, everyone. Pleasure to be here. Wanted to bring the conversation back to the theme of this session, which is public-private partnerships. I'll be talking about what Skywatch does from that perspective and from that lens. One platform, many partners. So as previously mentioned, we're brand new GEO associate members, so extremely excited and grateful to be here and to be able to work with the global GEO community. And extremely, and is very in line with our mission of the company, which is to democratize Earth observation data and intelligence for all. In terms of Skywatch, we operate the world's leading cloud-based EO data platform. So alongside open and public data sets, we also provide the largest robust commercial offering, representing the fastest and largest user base as well. In the next couple of slides, I'll be presenting two case studies that are championed by the Canadian Space Agency and the Government of Canada to advance and create operational solutions that are globally relevant. The first case study, was sponsored by the Canadian Space Agency, which is autonomous tasking optimization via machine learning, ATOM for short. Was funded through the Government of Canada's Innovative Solutions Canada, which is a government-funded initiative that is geared towards small and medium enterprises that allows and supports co-development as well as eventual operationalizing the final solution. The end result was helping develop artificial intelligence and machine learning models to optimize the assets in orbit, whether they be public and sovereign owned or commercial. The second thing we were able to accomplish in this project was the integration of sovereign data products and missions alongside commercial EO missions as well. And lastly, creating standardized compliant architecture, stack, OGC, to name a couple. The final output of this particular project was achieving a technology readiness level of 8, making an operational platform that supports asset optimization and EO democratization that would be utilized or could be utilized within the various geothematic areas that exist today. The second case study I'd like to present is Smart Harbor, and specifically around EO data accessibility. Again, led by the Canadian Space Agency, the initiative was founded by the Impact Assessment Agency of Canada, supported by the CSA for the ecological monitoring tied to the expansion of the Port of Montreal, which is located in the St. Lawrence River in Canada, which is one of the busiest waterways in the world. The solution we provided is allowing for multiple stakeholders in the public sector as well as the private sector that were pre-selected to allow for the Skywash platform to be accessed, but also allow for easy integration into downstream applications and workflows. So what we were able to achieve through this ongoing project is delivering consistent standard-based EO data products across multiple partners, as well as proving out the biodiversity use case, which is aligned with GEO's SDG and equity goals. So through this, Skywatch enables the PPP implementation and interoperability across multiple consortium members, which I think would be very applicable to the various work programs that exist within GEO today. To close out, the themes for success that we've experienced through these two unique and different case studies. One is focusing on operational focus. So the ability to develop new and innovative technologies that can be operational in due time. And then second is interoperability from day one. So ensuring that standards and standardization is top of mind and always at the forefront when developing new technologies. And the last is open access alignment. So ensuring that sovereign and proprietary data products, whether it be public or otherwise, can be used through commercial tools and to increase ultimately the downstream value. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dexter. And with that, we're concluding the industry pitching. So thank you very much, all of you, for contributing and presenting your services. So before we go to conclusions and the final remarks for the session, as we do have our prominent speakers with us, and in case if you have any specific comments or questions, I'm sure we can bring pictures back to the stage. I would like to ask if there are any questions or comments from the audience. Oh, yes, I see. Finland. Oh, sorry, Finland was apparently first. So I will invite Finland and then China. Please.
So thank you very much, Veronica, and the panelists and the pitchers for, I think, the most interesting session in this event until now. And I bet you no one else afterwards will be better. So thank you very much for that. I want to picture pick something from, I guess it was Wang Yang and Milena in the original ones. They were talking about the fact that we actually do have many ways to why we need to do more together, and especially across private and public. And one of the points is to be able to predict forward. So if you have great, for example, land surface temperature product at 10 meters, it's actually even greater if you can say 12 hours ahead or tomorrow as well. And I have been myself with my team in actions where we can show that combining weather forecast material and models with Earth observation products, you can actually very well skillfully replicate things. ECMWF has even demonstrated this with just using observation material, so a lot of a comprehensive set of different satellite products, some, let's say, surface observations. And then you can actually also predict Earth observation products. But this is exactly, I think, the idea that somehow you have to have a system that combines these together. So even if you want to make the predictions, you need all those other people's data sets as well. Otherwise, you can't do it. And that's why, especially when it's a public-private kind of use case, I think we should think about how can we make maybe a business system that supports it in a good way. That some bring in data, some bring in kind of innovation, and then somehow the money helps everybody to survive in this system. And that's just a question to panelists and one of pitchers as well, that if they have ideas to that, then please come up with it. But I think this is something where the Group on Earth Observation could also have a big role of how to get something like this organized. But thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Miko. Anybody from the panel, a short comment? Yes, we have, so Pat first and Giovanni, please.
I would say that some of what you've described there is exactly what the GeoGlows project does do, using the ECMWF model, working with the academic institution at BYU, number of countries, and Esri coming together. And this is really something that is operational now, looking at the 10-day forecast, serving it out at scale everywhere around the globe. And as Dr. Volz pointed out, taking that same approach, leveraging higher resolution data in the United States, but the same concept of organizing it all together, serving it out. So I think there are some models that can be followed.
Thank you very much. And Giovanni?
Very quickly, I believe that what is important is to imagine a completely new value chain in where you don't exchange cost across the different paths, but you exchange value. This is a way in which we can make easier partnership between public and private, but also private to private and public to public partnership more efficient.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for all these comments. So now I would like to give the floor to China and then the United States.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And many thanks for the contribution from distinguished speakers. China recognizes that our current vision or scenario of Earth's intelligence for all. The strategic engagement with the private sector represents a reliable pathway to diversify resources and emphasize participation in GW projects and knowledge exchange initiatives. We wish and support establishing structured mechanism to facilitate the private sector engagement. Second, for the nations in the future, sure, we hope so, in kind or in cash, many thanks. In this plenary meeting, China wants to emphasize the critical need to develop a robust governance framework to implement in transparent procedure. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And now I'll pass it on to United States.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for these excellent presentations. Very energizing and creative in the application you're developing. So I have a question, and you can take it either of two ways. Have you heard or learned anything this week by watching the GEO plenary that we have here that either encourages you or energizes you with your specific business models to want to work with GEO in any of our elements? Or on the flip side, did you see gaps or issues that would make you want to walk away?
Interesting question, open for the negative feedback in case. So I don't know if any panelists or in case if any of the pitchers would like to take the floor. Anybody who's courageous enough? Patricia?
I'll just say that I think GEO, I've been inspired. I think GEO is looking at the new work program. I think there are many opportunities, many exciting opportunities I'd love to see our company get involved with. I think we have to meter ourselves and how much we can be involved. But I think there are a lot of exciting opportunities. I think there are many. I hope this will be encouragement to the newer GEO associates and others to take a fresh look at the GEO work plan. I think the way it's laid out is it's quite concise. I think you can see who the points of contact are, whether there are other participating organizations already or GEO associates. I will note that there are very few GEO associates listed as partners in a number of the GEO work program areas. So I know I took a fresh look at it and we'll consider some other areas we might get involved, and hopefully other GEO associates will as well. So I find it more encouraging, but maybe a little overwhelming on how far we can go getting involved. So it'll be a prioritizing process.
Thank you very much. And then indeed, maybe there could be feedback after reviewing the working plan. And then Giovanni, you wanted to comment as well?
No, in replying to the question and to invitation to, coming here, before coming, I have to say I was really worried that the general crisis of multilateral relation could endanger GEO operation and the quality of service at global scale. I have to say, but it's not a political point of view, but as an entrepreneur, as a chair of an industry association, I say that the opposite. I've seen a lot of innovation in the approach, and as I told in my speech, sorry for my bad English, I'm Italian, I believe that there is the need to change GEO in this moment to take a look to how we can transform multilateral cooperation in this very changing time.
Thank you very much, Giovanni. I don't see any other questions. Perfect, we're already after the time, so, but that's the last session, so we allowed ourselves to take this additional 10 minutes, so thank you very much for staying with us. So, to conclude, thank you very much, pitchers and our speakers, for contributing to this discussion and comments from the audience. I think we agree, based on not only this panel, but also on the discussions throughout this week, that there is a need for closer collaboration between public and private sector, and the involvement, strengthening the involvement of the private sector in GEO, which we can already see here, not only in this session, but also in the exhibition area, and also the companies just being here and wanting to be a part of this network. There has to be alignment between the needs of the users, the language of the users, and the offer that is being that is created by the service providers and by the public sector. And therefore, public sector can be treated as implementer and enabler to implement the strategies, and also a strategy implementation plan, or the GEO goals within our organization. And that can be achieved through, as we mentioned before, democratization of access to data, benefiting from new technologies such as AI. And the most important, I think, what was the main message between all these comments from the audience and from the panel, is that it has to be done together globally. That's why we're having this discussion with GEO and a GEO Global Forum with the international audience and with the international speakers. So with that, to moving forward to doing it together, I'm sure we'll hear more of the summaries of this week in the closing session later. And now we invite you all to the coffee, and thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished delegates, as the 20th GEO Plenary near its successful conclusion, we now convene for the final session, the closing ceremony. On behalf of the GEO community, I extend my sincere gratitude to all of you for the exceptional engagement and the spirit of cooperation you have demonstrated throughout these intensive days. Let me quickly highlight the historical achievement we have collectively advanced. At this 20th GEO Plenary, we have approved the following key decisions: the GEO 20 Plenary Agenda, the draft report of the GEO 19 Plenary, the post-2025 GEO Work Program, the 2025 GEO Secretary Budget, the update of the review of rules of procedure, the request for special plenary authorization to operationalize the new rules of procedure task force, Executive Committee members 2025. These decisions have charted the course for GEO's future governance and programmatic development. In addition to this very good outcome, several crucial discussions have injected a fresh moment into GEO's future development. Strategic foundation. The post-2025 strategic implementation plan defines the specific action for GEO's development over the next 5 years. Impact expansion. The ministerial roundtables demonstrated how Earth intelligence drives solutions in One Health and disaster resilience, core pillars of our mission. Inclusive momentum.
by elevating youth voice and private sector partnership, we have renewed our commitment to Earth intelligence for all with fresh perspectives. This accomplishment reflects the power of our shared purpose. Now, it's my distinct honor to invite our gracious host, Italy, to deliver the closing remarks that will inspire our path forward. Teodoro Valenter, President, Italian Space Agency, Italy, the floor is yours, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Good afternoon to all of you, distinguished ministers, representative of the international organization, esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, allow me to apologize for not having been present in the opening ceremony and during the ministerial roundtable. But I was abroad, first in Norway, then in Lithuania, with the Italian delegated authorities for space, Minister Adolfo Urso, for international questions which were not foreseen at the time we defined the GEO agenda. So I just come back yesterday, and with all my pleasure, I am here today for a short closing remark. First, it has been a great honor to organize and to host this GEO Global Forum 2025 and to host you all in Rome. I'd like to thank the GEO Secretariat, the lead co-chairs, the European Commissions, and all the delegations, including the Italian ones, here today for the very important work done. And on the Italian side, a particular thank to the Minister of University and Research, Anna Maria Bernini, for her participation to the event, and also a thank to the Ministers of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation for the continuous support in order to organize this event. This GEO Global Forum has brought high-level representatives from about 100 countries and international organizations in Rome these days, with more than 700 participants. And this is a very, very important outcome. Then, on behalf of the Italian Space Agency, we are proud that this forum, led in Italy, has brought a concrete result for the GEO community of states and organizations, the approval of the GEO work program, detailing measures and projects which will be pursued by its members in the next years. And in this context, the Italian Space Agency Earth observation activities can significantly contribute to GEO initiatives. And to enhance these opportunities, ASI is open to collaborate with the Secretariat and GEO members to build future area of cooperation as defined and approved in the working program, such as climate, energy, and urbanization, for example, the Global Health Resilience Service, or One Health, the expected results from the ASI-NASA Maya missions on the connection between health and atmospheric pollutions, and with germ hazard and disaster resilience, considering the heritage of the Italian civil protection system, of which ASI, the Italian Space Agency, is a part. In addition, ASI track record of international activities in Earth observation can serve as a valuable vehicle for realizing this cooperation. So given ASI's current contribution to GEO with Cosmos Skymet and Prisma data, our country promotes the use of Earth observation to address global challenges such as food security, biodiversity protection, and the identification of countermeasures against climate change. Through the work of the Italian Space Agency and other Italian scientific institutions, our country is at the forefront of developing advanced observation technologies in terms of products, but also in terms of services, for the benefit for our daily life, with a clear commitment onto international cooperation. So we have been proud to host this strategic event, celebrating also 20 years since the establishment of GEO. Thank you to all of you for the important work you have done during this event, important work for today, and important work also for our future common actions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President Valentin, and the Italian government, Italian Space Agency, for hosting this outstanding conference in the long historical, rich culture city of Rome. Your warm hospitality and meticulous planning made the event both productive and memorable. We truly appreciate all the efforts you invested to bring together speakers and participants from around the world. We are impressed by magnificent auditoriums like this, beautiful long corridors, well-defined exhibition, delicious food, gala dinners, professional service team who demonstrate the hospitality of Rome people. In Joe's 20th years journey, we have had a lot of events over many cities. Each in its own way was unforgettable. It would be difficult to Rome. By all means, Rome. We will cherish our visit here in memory. This plenary marks the pivotal transition in Joe's leadership. Over the past 18 months, China has served as a lead co-chair with extraordinary dedication, steering the GEO through critical milestones, including the development of the strategic implementation plan and adoption of the GEO work program, while strengthening global collaboration in Earth observation. Today, we formally conclude the productive term and welcome the European Union as our new lead co-chair. I now invite Mr. Gao Xiang from China and Mrs. Joanna Drink, the European Union, to just stay here, and you can stand for this ceremony transition of the leadership. Okay. Yeah. Let's recognize the important moment with applause. Yeah. We extend our deepest gratitude to China for the exceptional leadership during these 18 months, and we offer our full support to the European Union as they assume this vital role. We are confident that GEO will make an even greater stride towards achieving Earth Intelligence 4, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. Well, ex-chair, maybe I should say.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. As we approach the conclusion of this historical 20th GEO plenary, it's my distinct honor to invite our new lead co-chair to share conclusive reflection. I'm pleased to welcome Mrs. Joanna Drink, the Deputy Director General for Research and Innovation of the European Commission, who will deliver the formal closing remarks.
Thank you so much, Professor Xiao Liao, Dr. Jiang Zhao, and the GEO China team, first of all. I want to really personally extend very, very heartfelt thanks for the work that you have carried out with dedication, with leadership over the last 18 months. It was challenging times, it was interesting times, but you have kept calm, you have kept a presence, you were precise, and you ensured that with also very more than a touch of humor, you have kept us bonded, united, but at the same time, we all moved forward and achieved progress. So really well done for that.
Thank you.
I am also fully aware of the responsibility and the courage that it takes to be GEO lead co-chair. Maybe some of you don't remember this, but I have already had the experience of being thrown at the deep end, as they say, when I was actually having my baptism of fire as a new DDG in DG Research and Innovation. And that's 3.5 years ago. And one of my first files, if you like, in my portfolio was actually to take off the lead co-chairmanship of GEO. I didn't know what was hitting me at that moment, I can tell you. Probably not even that it was satellites hitting me. So I know that it was with great responsibility that you took over and that it was admirable leadership. And even if maybe the geopolitical situation presents us with new challenges today, you have kept everything on track and you have made sure that together we achieve multilateral and global progress in GEO in full collaboration. But of course, we stay on course, we are resolute to do so. We took a commitment all together in the plenary to implement the vision of GEO strategy and Earth intelligence for all. And we are resolute that we stay stronger together. If the Earth is talking, the citizens are screaming out. And I think the urgencies out there do not require us to be in any way obstacled, if you like, in the way. We will move on with an agenda that we know will deliver good for all. And I personally will be very much taking this on very seriously, as I have done already in the past, even if, as I said, I didn't know at that point what was hitting me. And even more now, after 3.5 years of more experience and more exposure to very brilliant people, a lot of hard-working people from all over the world, I will do so with the support, of course, with my brilliant colleagues in the European Commission. But I also count on your support, Professor Lau and Dr. Zhao, as well as on the active engagement of the other co-chairs, which I am sure will remain more than collaborative, but with agility and with proactivity, but also with the principals, with the representatives from the different countries, different organizations, and the entire GEO community. Stronger together we are. Maybe I could just outline our priorities for this mandate, which are relatively straightforward, I would say. They always are. It's in the doing that it becomes complex, but we'll always find a way forward, I believe. When there is a will, there is always a way. So I'll summarize as follows. First and foremost, we will work towards a more effective ExCom meetings with regards to providing guidance to the GEO Secretariat and other governance bodies of GEO, as well as increasing engagement and participation in GEO. And all of us, participation by all of us. Secondly, improving the GEO governance by updating the rules of procedures and improving the roles and relationships of the different governing bodies, including the regional GEOs. And of course, ensuring the implementation of the strategy and the GEO work program, which will take place as agreed. In particular, follow closely the assessment of the operating models and also increasing the value-added proposition for our members. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are drawing a close to the GEO Plenary. It is my honor as new lead co-chair to stand before you and to reflect on the journey we have undertaken over these last days. We have delved into very thought-provoking discussions. We have exchanged innovative ideas. We have forged new connections that will undoubtedly endure beyond the walls of Rome, beyond the walls of this venue, and beyond our internal and external walls as we interact, I would say, in the same space where our satellites interact, beyond very much ourselves. First of all, let me express my deepest gratitude to our speakers, to our panelists. Contributions also over the last 2 days have not only illuminated our understanding, but also have inspired us to think, as I said, beyond our own limitations, broadly, to act courageously in our respective fields. Your expertise, your passion are truly commendable, and we thank you for sharing your insights with us. To the organizers, Professor Valente, I'm really glad that we see you again. We had seen you right at the beginning of the conceptualization of how this event should look, what shape it should take, what results we all look forward to be proud of at the end. And you were there right at the beginning for us. The National Research Council of Italy, of course, Nicola being on the forefront of that, apart from being Italy's GEO principal. Giovanni, thank you so much also from the ASSI point of view. The GEO Secretariat, each and every one of the members of the Secretariat giving more than their own borders, I would say. All the volunteers, all members of the GEO community. You have worked tirelessly behind the scenes. Your dedication, your commitment have made this event seamless and impactful. And it is because of this, because of your hard work, because of not taking, shoddy work for an answer, because you wanted to remain meticulous and to plan. It's that because that we have actually come together in a dynamic and enriching environment. To all attendees, all of you here, all of you have survived this week, even those who have gone away, I would like to address their spirit. I thank you again for your engagement. I thank you for your presence. I thank you for your contribution, for your activity, for your questions, for your doubts. This increases our strengths. When you have doubts, we need to reply. And for your eagerness to learn, to connect, to collaborate, as our Director General said also yesterday. It is your presence and participation that give life to this first GEO Global Forum. And I'm particularly delighted, as I always am, when I see young people really infectious and with infectious enthusiasm. And I have to say I'm energized by that. And this has been demonstrated in the youth session, where youth from all over the world come together to present their views and also the results from the ideas that they created. And I encourage them to really go even more mainstream in our operations, in our thought processes, in our impacts that we want to achieve, and in helping us define them for the generations of tomorrow. We hope that you leave here with new knowledge, with renewed enthusiasm, and a network of colleagues and friends who share your vision and ambition. And as we move forward, let us take with us key lessons and insights we have gained. Let them inform our actions and drive our pursuits. Let this forum be a catalyst for change, a starting point for Earth intelligence, and a foundation for ongoing dialogue and cooperation. It is, as with everything else, that's really a live wire, the journey that counts more than the destination. And in my remarks, I urge you to remain committed to the ideas and values we have explored together. Let us continue to work collaboratively to overcome challenges and to seize the opportunities that lie ahead. The conversations we have started here are just a beginning, and I'm confident that they will lead to meaningful progress and transformative outcomes. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Joanna Drake, for your enthusiastic remarks and commitment and forward-looking. I believe that there will be increased expectation and support with your added responsibility. Now, let me invite the co-chair, representative China, Mr. Gao Xiang, to deliver China's closing statement.
Thank you. Dear colleagues, dear co-chairs, dear Yana, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. After 2 days of fruitful discussions, we have successfully completed the 20th GEO Plenary. On behalf of China co-chair, I would like to extend sincere thanks to Italy government and GEOSEC for the good organization and thoughtful arrangement. Congratulations to European Union as the new lead co-chair, and heartfelt gratitude to all delegates for your active participation and insightful contributions. This plenary marks a crucial milestone as GEO enters its third decade and charts the course of next 5 years. As a founding member and co-chair of GEO, China last year launched Hangzhou Action Initiative, injecting new momentum into global data sharing action. At AOGEO, we fostered a collaborative Earth observation network in AO Caucasus, providing crucial support for developing countries to enhance disaster monitoring and reduction and developing agriculture. Over the past year, China has diligently fulfilled its responsibility as the lead co-chair by establishing the post-2025 SIP reference document. This hard work achievement would not be possible without the strong support from all members and partners. We hereby express our sincere gratitude to all colleagues who provide support to China during its terms as the lead co-chair. Today, we just hand over the lead co-chair to European Union. We look forward to European partners leading GEO's mission to new heights. And China will always provide steadfast support and work side by side with global partners. We will continue to provide data services to the GEO community, develop Earth intelligence at the national, regional, and global levels, and in particular, support capacity building in developing countries. Dear colleagues, let us take this plenary as a new starting point, move forward together, and usher a new era of Earth intelligence to build a community with a shared future for human mind. Thank you all.
Thank you, Director Gao, for your leadership this past 18 months and for your vision today. China and yourself try hard to keep and elevate China's commitment and contribution. Your concluding remarks clearly signal strong support to the new lead co-chair and to all. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Mamaneti Murphy, Deputy Director General of South Africa Department of Science and Technology, to make a closing remarks. Yes.
Thank you, former lead co-chair. And it's exactly 18 months since I handed over to China as the lead co-chair. And I think somehow you have done a much bigger cycle than all of us have, because we've always done 12-month cycle. And thanks to the new approach of trying to make sure that these meetings are actually not clashing with other similar engagements. I want to thank you for your astute leadership during the time and the period that we're coming from. And I think what is very interesting, as I also welcome and pledge the support to our colleague, the European Commission co-chair, who's now the lead co-chair, that every cycle of lead co-chairmanship is unique and it's got its own challenges. And I think that as we go forward, it is going to be our support that is going to make sure that this doesn't become a difficult task for you. But most importantly, I think we are thankful that this handover is from one pair of capable hands to another. And the fact that in GEO we have always worked collaboratively. I want to also thank everyone for your contributions and enriching discussions and debates during this round of meeting. This has been an exciting experiment of having the GEO Global Forum, and I think it has gone very well. And again, even before you took over as lead co-chair, I think your role in just putting this together, Joanna, as the leader of the European caucus, shows by the way this whole event has gone. And for that, I want to thank you and acknowledge the role of the excellent hospitality by the Italian government through the Space Agency. I think it's fair to say that we have taken some important steps forward during these meetings. It has been productive dialogue, and there have also been concrete decisions. I'm mostly pleased by the fact that we have now approved or adopted the post-2025 GEO work program and amended the rules of procedure, which I think we really needed to do. We have made some milestones. There are a lot of significant steps going forward that we need to achieve. What we have achieved during this period also shows that we are capable, even in the face of all the challenges that are facing the planet, to be able to respond by working together collaboratively. Both the member states, participating organizations, and now, even as we have begun to aggressively look at the role of the private sector. We were very much reminded by the voices of the young people that they are not outsiders in this process, they are part of it. They continue to challenge us to move faster, to include them more broadly, and to lead intentionally. And I think that working at their fast pace and the caution that we have as experienced and older participants in this forum, that we are indeed going to make some significant and important steps forward. I just want to finally announce here that we are inviting everybody to the upcoming AfriGeo Symposium, which is going to be held in Senegal from the 7th to the 9th of October. The event in Senegal promises to be another important moment and milestone for our regional cooperation, innovation, and learning. And we really have bigger plans for our young people as well, but most importantly, to really grow the tentacles of GEO into the rest of the continent. So we thank you and we invite you, and we're looking forward to having you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Murphy, for your speech, outstanding efforts, and your ongoing contribution to GEO. I can remember the last plenary, the lead co-chair transferred from South Africa to China, and now today we transfer from China to European Union, and that is a very good symbol of this GEO governance structure. And I think it's an important we jointly laid the important foundation for GEO's development for the next decade. Now, I welcome perspective from the United States, Dr. Stephen Wirtz, Assistant Administrator of NOAA Satellite and Information Service. Please.
Thank you, Chair. Former Chair, I'm sorry. On behalf of the United States, I would like to express our gratitude to the Italian Space Agency, to the European Commission, and to the GEO Secretariat for making this global forum both possible and very successful. I also thank China and you, Professor Lau, for your leadership over the last 18 months. Congratulate the European Commission on behalf of the European Union as Joanna Drake embarks on her role as lead co-chair. Look forward to working with you as we have in the past. The community events and the exhibits have demonstrated how much the GEO community has to be proud of from this workshop, this plenary, showcasing accomplishments we've achieved together over the past 2 decades in advancing the field of Earth observations. Looking back, at the start in 2005, we popularized the idea of Earth observations for everyone, and we worked to build a community of like-minded agents and members. After 10 years, we moved on from collecting members to developing applications and trying to deliver them to our communities. So GEO at 20 is at another crossroads, and the question is, where are we going now? We're faced with clear conditions and with clear choices as we try and focus on solutions for our members. First, let me talk to the conditions. The demand signal for our mission is incredibly strong. Just read the GEO SIP and read the GEO Work Program. It is not just the Earth that is talking, but our community, 117 members, and really all 8 billion people on the planet, as well as every species and every ecosystem, are shouting and demanding action. Our youth panel today highlighted this. Again, they've come a couple of times and highlighted this to us. Further, people know or believe they know what they can and should be getting from Earth observation-driven intelligence and information. We are flooded with observations and information. We have more satellites, wonderful European, Chinese, Japanese, US government systems, immensely capable commercial imaging and communication satellites, and a growing list of multispectral commercial satellites providing information. We have processing power to burn, and we're witnessing an explosion in AI innovation, and our information systems are enabling incredibly powerful, tailored user services, but at a price. We can no longer say that we're blind. We may be ignorant of what to do with this, but we're not blind. We know what's there in front of us. There are more resources in EO and supporting systems than ever before. In the US, we have approximately a $250 billion annual space economy. And globally, it's over 600 billion. And it's increasing at a double-digit pace every year. We, GEO, are not getting that cash, unfortunately. It's nice to get 1% of that to work with. But it is creating a market that benefits us all. Major government systems, satellite systems and information are mature, but still growing slowly. New national entrants are emerging every month with flying new satellites and systems. And the private sector is exploding in capacity. We just saw this afternoon a dozen different examples of niche markets provided by emerging entrants. Growth overall is not coordinated. People don't ask what you're flying before I decide what I'm going to fly, other than the small area, I would say, of coordinated meteorological constellations shepherded by the WMO. But that's not a problem. With processing power and our information systems and a lot of science, collaboration, and calibration, we can pick and choose and merge observations to provide information services working from the back end. So what does that give GEO? Where does that place GEO in the path forward? Is GEO ready to be a power player in this new environment? Yes, I think we are, but we need to adapt as well. We need to embrace in mixed systems and integrated solutions, no single platform profile solutions anymore. We need to embrace public and private collaboration where the collective end value of the mission is the objective. That's the end user satisfaction. And by meaning the collective, we need to start costing the free government sources that we provide so we can do an accurate estimate of a public versus a private or a commercial service, because we spend a lot on our government systems and they're not necessarily guaranteed in the long term. And we need to embrace dynamic management models, allowing and encouraging innovation and execution at all levels of GEO, and rewarding success wherever we find it in that action. I'm really excited by all of this and by the possibilities of what GEO can provide, and it's an exciting 10 years ahead of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Stephen Worth, for reinforcing the transatlantic commitment to GEO's mission. United States made persistent, substantial contribution to GEO cause, and as co-chairs, your involvement demonstrated the commitment and insightful and professional understanding of the GEO and collaborative efforts. Thank you. Now, let's welcome the leaders who orchestrate GEO's daily work. Mrs. Yana Gavanjian, Director of GEO Secretariat, for share her successes of this plenary and vision for implementation. Please. Yeah.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, co-chairs. Congratulations, everyone. I don't know, do you all feel that somehow around day 3, time starts ticking a lot faster? You feel like day 3 suddenly is day 5. Well, you've now seen the GEO Global Forum executed by the Italian host, the Italian team, and the Secretariat, and I think you will not disagree that in terms of using creative, innovative tools to communicate, create visibility and attraction, we did pretty well, right? So then I have a little bit of a true or false game for you. Do you know how to play true or false? Yes. I say something, and then you have to say, is it true or is it false? So, because we are a community of satellite operators, and we heard from 8 companies today who demonstrated incredible capabilities. Among them, somewhere, I'm sure, are very, very, very high-resolution optical imagery operators, infrared. What we've done with the Italian team is, because we've reached all the decisions that we wanted to reach, we have now sent out white smoke from the top window in the left wing of the old part of this venue, which could be detected by those very, very, very sophisticated sensors on those satellites if they knew to point them at here. True or false? Actually, whoever said true is very right. is very right. You can check later. I'm sure that there is a way to draw down that satellite imagery, and you shall see that white smoke. And so I want to congratulate. We did quite well, better than our neighbors down the road, apparently. So congratulations on passing all of the decisions. I see the energy is pretty low, but it's okay, bear with me. All right, now on to serious business. So I started on the first day by sharing what I was hoping would be an inspiration for how GEO should emerge as this global leader that is going to position us as the place where innovation using Earth intelligence really leads to breakthroughs. And I used Rome with its ancient, rich history of scientific innovation and stewardship of environmental knowledge and creativity as the basis for it. I would now like to close and end with a different type of inspirational message for why we should be doing all of that. And rather than using my own words and my own voice, because I'm sure you've heard enough of it, I'd like to use the words and the voice of one of the winners of GEO's first and so far only art competition that we conducted back in 2021. At the time, she was 8 years old. It was 4 years ago. She's probably 12 now. But I'm asking to cue the video. And in the words of this little girl, who is now older, I hope you get really reminded why we are in this business.
My name is Yu Yunchen, age 8. I am a pupil of Fuzhou Chaiyuanshan Central Primary School. I am quite glad when I know that I am one of the winners. Also, we are children. We also want to protect our beautiful Mother Earth. We need to tell people around us that we do need to protect her. This is my painting for the GEO art competition. In this painting, aliens are talking about the Earth, seeing how good it used to be. Aliens are very sorry for what people have done on the Earth. They throw the sampling into the nutrient solution, guide the bottle of nutrient solution to the Earth, and the Earth becomes lush again. But no people there. Nobody knows where are people. This shall not happen. I believe that Mother Earth's protection begins with the heart and begins with the action. Let us try our best to protect our beautiful Mother Earth from today.
What an incredible video. What a fantastic moment. Thank you, Yana, for your excellent concluding remarks and this innovation video. And thank you, your teams, for the tremendous support you have provided to GEO's work. And ladies and gentlemen, as we bring the historical 20th GEO Plenary to a close, it's my honor to invite our incoming lead co-chair, Mrs. Joanna Draken, to formally conclude the session, please.
Thank you very much. I really congratulate that 8-year-old. I wonder whether we could bring her back and tell us her impressions after some years from that video, Jana. And yeah, that could give us a bit of a seal of excellence, maybe, or, yeah, maybe on our way to excellence. From a 12-year-old now, how old would you be? Okay, good inspiration. But you have been listening to a lot of speeches, a lot of talking heads, but a lot of action as well has been laid before you. So a lot of intense networking too, and I'm sure we're all very exhausted, and I'm sure you're looking forward to some calm evenings and also maybe a calm weekend. But I understand that this event is not quite finished yet. Just to remind you that some of you tomorrow will be on some excursions in this beautiful eternal city. And also there's an event for young people tomorrow organized by Italy. And this is the good investment time, I call it, in the young, always good investment. And also the exhibition is open till 1 o'clock tomorrow. But it has come to the end of this plenary, and I would like to close it now. I hope, sincerely, that you have been vindicated for the time you have spent here. I hope that you have enjoyed this time. And I really do hope that you have safe travel back home, inspired as you may be with new connections, new ideas, and also inspirations, apart from the new friendships, of course. A visit in Rome is always a memorable one, and I'm sure that you will always remember this event as a milestone, not only for GEO, but maybe also for you in your professional career, for you as a person, and for you as a social being who made and is capable of new connections and new achievements. And I'm sure that we're all proud that at the end of this, we do have a work program, so our work is never over. And we're sure that we're all going to be very, very careful and also very keen on making sure that the implementation plan, and more importantly, the work plan, remains on track. I'd like to thank again our hosts, Italy, thank you so much, RC, CNR, as I said earlier, in particular Giovanni Rum and also Nicola Pirone, who have made this all possible from the start and who believed that it will always work out. So a special applause to both Giovanni and to Nicola. And of course, there are so many other people to congratulate, so many others to thank for their engagement, for their commitment, for their not giving up, for their also believing that it will work out because they know that it is worth investing in being strong together. And as the old Romans used to say, and watch my Latin, quem semel amavit, nunquam obitum est, et qui Romam reliquit, iterum redibit. Just in case your Latin is not as good as mine, I will try a translation. He whom he once loved, he has never forgotten, and he who left Rome, he will return again. Well, I'm not sure if we, as GEO community, that is, of course, will come back to Rome anytime soon, unless, of course, you're football fans, and there's always a good reason to be in Italy or around Rome. There's always some Serie A or Serie B reason for you to be here, or some European championship. But I'm sure that one day we will. And for the time being, I look forward to meeting you all at least next year's plenary, if not before, probably in Nairobi in Kenya. And with this, I declare the GEO 20th plenary closed. Safe travels, and I look forward to seeing you and all next time, and that incredible things will continue to be accomplished together for our common future. Thank you.